Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty here, giving you breaking daily updates related to the Sebastian Rogers case. This is going to blow your mind, guys. I've been personally covering the case of Sebastian Rogers, a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from Hendersonville, Tennessee. His mother, Katie Proudfoot, and stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, came out and told their stories in this interview about what transpired related to the disappearance of their 15-year-old son. Katie, Sebastian's mother, describes the day before he disappeared, Sunday, February 25th. They went to BJ's, he got a colossal popcorn, he was just a very happy, jovial young man, and they came home, put some snacks away, and then they went to a local bowling alley, and next to the bowling alley was a steakhouse where they ate. After they ate, they loaded up and went home. He took out the garbage, and the rest is history. He goes to bed at 9 p.m. Mom goes to bed at midnight. She awakes at 6 a.m. to wake Sebastian up as she normally does, and he's gone. Christopher Proudfoot states that he was not even in the area at the time that Sebastian left the home, that he was many miles away as he was working in Memphis and staying in his camper in Mississippi. A lot of people watching this case unfold became very, very skeptical of both Katie and Christopher Proudfoot's story about what happened leading up to Sebastian's disappearance. Many people noticed the deep abrasion scratches in some areas looking like bite marks on Christopher Proudfoot's arms some 8 days after Sebastian disappeared. Seth Rogers, which is Sebastian's biological father, decided to start doing some ground searches and raised money on a GoFundMe page to aid those efforts. Christopher Proudfoot threatened Sebastian's father in a lawsuit related to the GoFundMe page and also the fact that Seth appeared to make the other side of the family, look bad. Many people went out searching for Sebastian Rogers, and the one thing that was missing out of all the efforts volunteers put forth was Christopher and Katie Proudfoot. And when people asked them why they weren't out searching for their very son that went missing from their home, they told people that it was because law enforcement told them to stay home. However, that very evening, they were seen at a barbecue joint outside of the home enjoying a dinner. Meanwhile, never once searching for their very son that they say they care about and want to come home. Media was in an uproar, demanding answers from both Katie and Christopher Proudfoot why they're not helping with any searches for their son. And what was their response? They got in their camper, packed it up, and took off. Sebastian's mom and stepfather took off to a campground in Mississippi where they returned home for a short while and then returned back to this campground. Right now, it appears that the camper is still at this mobile home park or RV park with Chris's truck, but we have confirmed Chris is not staying there and has installed a camera on the camper. There are so many people curious as to why there's a camera on this camper but not on their home before Sebastian Rogers walked out that door. The sheriff was very cordial at the beginning of this search for Sebastian when he truly believed both Katie and Chris Proudfoot were deemed innocent and had no culpability in the disappearance of their son. If you look at the newest interview Nick Barris has with this very sheriff, you see a much different demeanor. Does this case anger me? You darn right. Does it make me want to almost lose my mind? You darn tootin'. Chris and Katie have a lot of explaining to do because what I just laid out for you is only a minor, small amount of the case against them. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work. We will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. And more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America. And more importantly, God bless our victims.
Well, happy Saturday, my beautiful people here on YouTube and X. And as I was coming in, I realized that I had accidentally put Sebastian Proudfoot instead of Sebastian Rogers as a very rude member that has now been blocked. Has reminded me. When you come in here, there is one rule to the Bullhorn Betty channel, and you guys all know it very well. Don't be a Richard. That is literally your only rule here on this channel. And in this chat, my mods do everything they can to make this a wonderful place for you guys to, express your concerns about cases and stuff like that. We try to keep it even keel. We expect everybody in here to be adults. And so please, handle yourself accordingly. Be an adult, right? We can all have our own opinions and our own points and stuff like that. We can say what we mean what we say, but we don't have to say it mean in the chat. So I know we do discuss a lot of emotional topics here. This one is Sebastian Rogers. He's a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from his home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. His parents have come under heavy scrutiny for a variety of reasons, most notably because their actions, their behaviors, what they've said, their stories, Swiss cheese. Every time we try to fill some of the holes, just trying to help, it seems like we're met with combativeness. We're met with anger and frustration, and let me make this crystal clear. Well, if you would have made it crystal clear up front, you wouldn't have to keep making it freaking crystal clear now would you? So clearly you're not crystal clear. The Proudfoots aren't being crystal clear. There's a lot of information we have no idea, and it goes directly to helping find and locate Sebastian Rogers, and the people that are hindering that process appear to be the Proudfoots, despite what we're hearing from law enforcement and despite what we're hearing from other, news organizations. I understand that they have passed their polygraph, according to Nick Barris. I don't believe it. Okay, I don't. Show me the polygraph. Let me see the polygraph examinations. I want to know his mental behavior. We're going to be going over some of the things related to polygraphs today. I'm opening up the phone lines. I'm going to let you guys kind of give me your insight on this. But this is really everything Chris and Katie Proudfoot, because I'm just disgusted with their behavior. Okay, their behavior is what's causing the problem. If they corrected the stinking behavior, we could move on, but they're not. The behavior seems to be getting worse. I have a question to both Katie and Chris. Maybe they'll be willing to answer, maybe not. Post it on Facebook, okay? Post your response on freaking Facebook, because that's where you live. When are you going to get out and look for your son? When are you going to unplug from social media and get off your ruckus and tookus and go out there and find your son? He left your home. He lived with you 24/7, visited Seth every other weekend and during the summer breaks. You guys know his behavior more than anybody, and you're the ones that keep running off to Mississippi, and we are learning right now from a TikToker that they're back in Mississippi. They ran away again. I guess they don't think Sebastian's coming home, because I don't know any mother that thinks their son's going to be walking in the door has the ability. I mean, literally, how can you leave? I've never seen any. I honestly have never seen anything like this. I mean, let's put this in perspective. Even Candace didn't leave. Her mom did. But even Candace and Dawn stayed home. They didn't run off. They didn't run off to another state when all this stuff was going on. I'm a fair person. They're worse than the Wells. They're worse than the Wells. Seriously. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. Kendra's up in the house. Jess, Deb, our beautiful Jules, QRPB. It's nice to see you all here this morning. Our beautiful Gigi, Sheila, good morning. Our beautiful Guidance, it's nice to see you. Sorry about that, guys. It happens. Good morning, Lisa, Karma's mom. It's nice to see you. Westcraft, good morning. Good morning. Of course, Bullhorn Betty's here. Boo. I don't think I have a boo button on this one. I didn't hook up the ones with boo. We have this one. So I like pushing buttons. Wake up. It's Saturday morning. Good gracious. Quit yelling at me.
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
It is the Bullhorn Betty channel. What do you expect? I'm just joking. Black Skies, it's nice to see you. Marjorie, it's nice to see you. Rapper's up in the house. Good morning, beautiful rapper. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Let's see, who else do we have? We have VA Dynamics. Christy, it's nice to see you, my love. Nani's up in the house. I miss you guys so much. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever, and we were just hanging out really late last night. Millie Cat, it's nice to see you. Christy, nothing compares. Nothing compares. Okay, we got real bit work to do here. Little Shawnee, it's nice to see you. Good morning. It's great. Who else do we have? We have B. Betty fan up in the house. Good morning, Love Bug. I think we're going to give all of our moderators here this morning a nice round of applause. It's nice to see you, Kat. Who else do we have? We have Love It up in the house. I think I already said hi to you, Christy. Ooh, Sarah Sweetness. I haven't seen you up in here in a while. It's nice to see you, my love. Rhonda, good morning. Good morning. See, I tell you, I have the list, okay? I know who comes to work and who doesn't, all right? You ain't getting away with squat here. I don't want to blow you guys up. What's this? It's been so long since I've been on this soundboard, I don't know what my buttons do. You guys are going to have to work with me today. It's Saturday. Little Mama, it's nice to see you. Good morning. So everyone, it's nice to see you. As you know, we're just going to be talking about everything Chris and Katie Proudfoot. We're going to go through the list of everything. Rhonda, thank you. God bless you. God bless you. I am going to be pushing buttons today. I'm just going to tell you right now. And I'm going to tell you guys all.
Call your doctor should you experience angina, smelly farts, eye bleeding, earwax, large boogers.
Shut up.
Just saying. Happy Saturday. So here's the issue. A lot of people are very contentious about this sighting of Sebastian. And guys, I don't know. You know, I hear creators are like, oh, well, you know, the father's seen him and it has to be him. This is a photo. It's a photo of an angle. Yes, it resembles him. And yes, any father that is missing a child that has a sighting of their son is probably going to get in their car and go straight there to find out if it's their son. It sounds to me like Seth was told they're not going to give him any information right now. I don't know. I heard something about him going out there, and because this is an investigation, an open investigation, they're not going to give him certain information, you know, about whether or not this is his son. Because if they thought it was his son, obviously he would go and get his son by any means necessary, yada, yada, yada. I think that is I understand the response, but a horrible response in and of itself, because there's a lot of people here wanting to know whether that is Sebastian Rogers or not, because a lot of us don't believe it is for a variety of reasons. I just don't, I don't believe that this whole thing about somebody's going to get him, change his hair color, do all this and that. There's got to be a reason. And of course, you know, people are providing plausible reasons. The grandmother, I've seen the photo of the grandmother circulating and doing the side shot of that. I can guarantee if we really tried, and let's test the theory, right? Let's test the theory. I want you guys to be the testers of this theory. I don't want it to be me. I want it to be you, each and every one of you, to do this. I want you to go through your picture albums. I mean, we all take this day and age. We've got, you know, those that are old like me, right? You got actual photos. We actually have paper. They're not the digital photo picture frames we have this day and age, right? So I want you to go through your photos. I really do. Why not? Test the theory. This is not just going to help us with this case, but this is going to help us with other cases as well. Go through your photo album and see if you can find anybody in your photo album that resembles these people. I'm just saying. Test the theory. I think you might be very surprised. Just saying. I had to go through maybe a handful of them. I didn't even have to take long. That's why I'm asking you guys to do it. Because I think if you guys do it, I think it'll give you a different perspective. Is what, and I think it's something that's easy enough that each of you guys can do on your own. And I think that by you doing it, I think you guys will understand why I want you guys to do it. So go through your photo albums and look for these people here. Look for Sebastian in your photo album. Look for the woman that's seen in that photo in your photo album. You know, you're probably going to be probably creeped out a little bit too. I mean, to be honest with you, right? You're going to start seeing things that you didn't know you saw. I'm just saying. Try it. If I'm lying, come back here. I leave my phones open. You can call in to the Bullhorn Betty channel and tell me about myself and how you didn't find a photo of these people in your photo album. But you know what? The crazy thing is each of you are going to probably try to prove me wrong. And you're going to be like, damn. Just saying. Try it out. So anyways, I just don't, there's a variety of reasons why I don't believe this is Sebastian. Do I want it to be him? Do I want him to come home? I don't even want to be covering this case, to be honest with you. I don't want to be covering this case, and I definitely don't want to be covering it the way I'm having to cover it because of the information that, is there any real hard, cold evidence against Chris and Katie? I think that was brought up by Nick Barris when he was informing us that they had passed their polygraph, right? I didn't believe it then, right? He prefaced it with, what did he say? I think he prefaced it with, no, he didn't preface it with it. It was afterwards. He sat there and said, after he said it, it's like almost choked. He's like, yeah, but we know that they're not that reliable. I love it. We love polygraphs. I'm ready for the polygraph examination until it's wrong or it doesn't go with my theory. And the first thing I'm saying is, they're not admissible in a court of law. I'm starting to sound like Chris Proudfoot. Well, dogs are only 25% accurate. Oh, but they hit at the front door and they took them over to the trail. We had three of them. Starting to be that person. So I would like to know, when you guys call in, a few different things. What do you think? How do you think the camper fits in? I still believe this camper's something. I don't know why I think this camper's something, but I do think this camper's something. We also learned from Nick Barris that, and I want to know what you guys think about this. Well, actually, let me see if I can just pull it up. I know right where I recorded at. Give me just a second. Because I did record it and I put it in a video, but I just don't feel like finding it in the video. It's easier for me to find it on Nick Barris. There he is. Ah, the wrong Nick. Dad burn it. Okay, videos. And I believe it's right at the 7-minute mark, if I had to guess. Maybe 10-minute mark. There it is. Actually, I think it might be... Okay.
Who very strongly resembled...
Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and listen. Let's listen to this because he goes into the polygraph. He goes into the polygraph, and I just realized that this is about the timestamp that I have is about Sebastian Rogers and the photo and that from yesterday or the day before yesterday. So give me just a second. Let me find it. We'll find it together.
Took that snapshot. And my question was, why on earth didn't she just approach him and say, hey, you look just like Sebastian. What's your name? I mean, I can tell you that right now.
All right. So where was he talking about the polygraph? I think it was later in. When did he start talking about the polygraph? I think it was later in here. Let me just pop around here real quick. I can remember if I...
For this much time, it's a very serious and sad situation. But something got him to go outside that night.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So this kind of dovetails into the whole mattress conversation. How many people by a show of ones and twos heard about the mattress early on? Like we heard, let me see if I can find it. We heard early on the Nancy Grace interview. You guys remember that? She had this weird question she asked. It was we didn't understand why she asked the question. I think we understand a little more now, hindsight's 2020. But she asked him, has there been any furniture changed in the house? And he said, well, we did get a mattress from a friend, and it's in the garage. And I think we all kind of took a back step and said, a mattress? Why would he need a mattress in the garage? Remember that? We didn't understand. Like, why this mattress? Why is this mattress? Why are they bringing up this mattress? We can't understand it. So I think all of this at this point, because it was so early in the investigation. I mean, I think it was only 2-3 weeks into the investigation when they had their interview with Nancy Grace, something like that. And So we were thinking more in lines of, I think, at least for me, I don't know what the rest of you guys were thinking, but at least for me, I was thinking that it had something to do with cleanup. You know, they changed out of bed. You know, there's something really bad happened. How many people felt like that? Put a hand emoji. Any hand emoji will do, just not the middle finger one. It's Saturday. No middle fingers. No middle finger Saturday. No middle finger Saturday. Okay. But raise your hand. Am I the only person that thought it was a cleanup? Okay, good. I got some. I was starting to think I was the only one, and I'm like, no, there's no way. Okay. So I kind of thought it was a cleanup, but now we're hearing these rumors that it sounds like Sebastian was being made to sleep in the garage. And, you know, normally I probably wouldn't have anything to say about it, and I really don't, because, and people are like, what do you mean you don't have anything to say? Well, I'd like to know what part of the garage he was in. Because to me, it matters. Why does it matter? Because they have a loft above the garage. We've seen it. It looks like a nice room. So if he's in the loft above the garage, why are we making a big deal about it? You see what I'm saying? So I feel like there's more to that aspect of the story, is all I'm saying. I keep trying to identify certain traits and behaviors of Chris and Katie Proudfoot, and I am identifying a few, you know, especially now that I've heard more history about Katie Proudfoot. That's really, to be honest with you, I think that was a jaw dropper, not because I'm nosy into her background, but let's be honest, we all know that how we were raised really dictates a lot of our adult issues or non-issues, right? If we are raised with a lot of problematic things in our childhood, we pretty much adopt those problematic things from our childhood and bring them into our adulthood. So hearing some of these things that we heard about Katie's family, it's absolutely problematic for me, because it makes me wonder what happened to her specifically. And as an abused person, and Chris's concern of the abuser or the abused becoming the abuser, it makes me wonder, was he basing that off of his own personal knowledge of Katie? It's a plausible question. It's a plausible question. So we have those. Let me find this thing about the polygraph. I don't know if I'm going to be able to here. Okay. I didn't mark it.
Something got him to go outside.
But he was talking
it's kind of interesting. I didn't ask.
You know, and then we had, that's right, we also had Hyatt talking about that he believes that there was a punishment where Sebastian was forced out of the house. And, you know, now we're hearing these rumors in the mattress and stuff like that. So I don't know, you know, when people call in to these shows, I can't tell you who they are. I can't tell you if their information is reliable. How many times have we had people call in, or we've heard people call in to shows and specifically give them wrong information intentionally, but also people call into shows with the best of intentions at heart, but just have some information incorrect. And then now it's being passed around as true, and it takes a lot more work to correct it. And it was just an innocent mistake. So we have to remember that these people calling in are people calling in that can't be verified. Do we listen to them? Of course. Could they be true? Of course they could. That's why we listen to them. But we can't take it as 100% true. At some point, we have to say, you know, how can we corroborate this information? If we can't corroborate the information, we have to tell you we can't corroborate it. And if we can't corroborate it, we can't pass it off as true. And right now, I can't pass this mattress in the garage or him sleeping in the garage off as true, because how are we going to corroborate that information? Is there some circumstances that lead us to believe that it could be possible? Yes, there's a mattress in the garage that everybody scratched their head at and asked, why is there a mattress in the garage? And 2 months later, we're finding out from somebody that it's possible that he was sleeping on a mattress on the floor in the garage. Now we're looking back and saying, okay, that's a plausible explanation of why we have a mattress in the garage. Does it hold water? You know, there are things that are making it look like it holds water, right? Just like with Sebastian, the sighting of Sebastian, there are a lot of things leading us to believe that it was Sebastian and a sighting of Sebastian. But there are also a lot of things that can't be corroborated at this point. And I think that's the way it is with the mattress. But I'm interested in hearing. And we do like to talk about theories and speculation. I think theories and speculation lead to a lot of real facts. It leads us down the places we need to go to search for real facts. So don't hold back when you guys call in. I'll be opening up the phone lines. Actually, do I have them open now? I do not have them open now. So if you guys would like to call in, I'm going to continue to talk about this case. But if you would like to call in and give your perspective on an aspect, or if you're hearing in conversation something that you would like to call in, if anybody would like to come up here and talk about the case and not co-host but be a guest on the channel, let me know and I'll drop the link. Actually, I'll drop the link too. You can call in or we'll drop the link. Let me find it. There you go. There you go. So either or, if you guys like the phones, call in on the phones. If you like to come up on chat, come up on chat. It doesn't really bother me. Just I'd like to keep this focus to Sebastian, a focus to Chris and Katie, because right now what we have. Let's just go through all of the information that we have. We'll start with Chris first because that's the one that I did the most detailed research on. So Chris Proudfoot, obviously we know that Kathy Bowersox is his mother and she is married to Terry Bowersox. We're learning from the Bowersox side of the family that there's something that's off with them. That apparently the families are disconnected from each other on both sides. Katie's family's kind of disconnected. The Proudfoot family's kind of disconnected. It sounds like just a few of the family members still communicate and whatnot and everything like that. Chris, it seems, has a lot of issues. We're learning that, now this is what is not, what we don't know whether is true. There was a call-in on, I can't remember if this call-in was the T-Rev or the one on CLL. But either way, a person that was a family member, a cousin, said that Chris Proudfoot hurt animals, that he would put frogs in his mouth, that he would poop on a mouse. Now, guys, I don't know why I can't say poop on a mouse with a straight face. I'm never going to be able to do it. I'm sorry. You're just going to have to forgive me for that. But I cannot say poop on a mouse with a straight face, okay? And I just want to say this, and I'm sorry for bringing this up, and it might be the tomboy in me, but should I be concerned that I actually think that that was a great aim? I mean, I don't know if I should be. How do you poop on a mouse? Is there an instruction manual? Like, do you have to? I mean, how do you not get it on your hands? Because the mouse is small. I mean, and I think you'd have to hold it because the mouse would. I'm a process person, okay? I play the tape through. You know, if you guys did that a little more, we wouldn't have so much misinformation out here. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, did he go under, like around? Did he go under? I mean, what technique did you use, Chris? I just would like to know what technique. The over or under? Are you an over or under kind of guy? Good morning, welcome to the Bullhorn Betty channel. Okay, we are talking everything Chris Proudfoot, and of course the first thing that comes to mind is a whole bunch of shit. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't make this stuff up even if I tried. Can you guys hear that? Okay, hold on. All right, this is the first call for the day, so give me just a moment. Let me make sure that people can hear you. Can everybody hear the phone ringing? Can you say hi for me, please?
Hello.
Hello, can everybody hear her? So who are you and where are you calling from?
This is Linda, and I'm calling from Kentucky.
So what do you think about my BS comment? No, I'm just So what do you think is going on?
It's crazy. But you was talking about the mattress in the garage earlier, and there is a post on Facebook about, and this allegedly came from a neighbor, and there's some other stuff in there about how Chris allegedly sprayed Sebastian with a pressure washer.
I heard that.
I'm a maintenance person. I've done maintenance for 14 years. I have run pressure washers. Those things are powerful. They do hurt.
But I also heard that they can rip skin, so,
Yes, they can. And so I've actually had my legs tore open with a pressure washer hitting gravel and then hitting me.
Yeah, so
those
would that be a plausible,
are,
that's the one thing that holds me up, is would that be a plausible event that would have happened? Because I would think, I saw what happened to my cousin's foot, and it was pretty bad.
Yes, they do hurt. And even on the lowest setting, it's still going to hurt.
Yeah.
With that being said, about the mattress in the garage, it was stated, now all this is allegedly, they made him sleep in the garage and the mattress smelled like urine. And I have this, I could send it to you email if you want.
Yes, please
do. Yeah, I can send it to you email and let you look at it. But with all the allegedlys and the speculations and people's thoughts and all of that, this case is crazy. But
you ain't lying about that.
And the poop on the mouse, man, I can't do it with a straight face either.
What? But I have a legitimate question about technique. Like, how did you not get any on your hands? Okay, I'm sorry. I think like that.
Exactly. And I'm on the same train track that you are. But I did want to touch base with you and get your email so I can send this to you, let you look over it, and see what you think.
Yeah.
Did he sleep in the garage? And I know they said that they did search the house, but I'm really wondering if it was searched thoroughly. Because you mentioned the loft. You mentioned the loft. He could have went up in that loft, and he could be hiding somewhere.
And the loft did have that door and stuff on it, but I just...
they have a door, and what you do is you pull it down, and then there's a little ladder built onto the door that you can just, climb right up in there, and you can close them. I know he's autistic. My granddaughter, I have an autistic granddaughter as well, and I want to tell you, they're smarter than you give them credit for.
They're creative in different ways. They function, they just have different ways of functioning, different ways of learning.
They do. And it's been a learning process. Like I said, my granddaughter is autistic and she is smart. But it's a day-by-day learning process because she's still young. So, but a wonderful child. And I don't see how anybody could hurt or abuse a child like that.
I don't think anybody can abuse any
in my
child,
heart, Exactly. But in my heart, I feel like Sebastian was neglected. I believe, there was abuse going on, and that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Right.
But I do have this. It was, like I said, it was allegedly from a neighbor, but it was on a Facebook post. And it talked about the mattress in the garage.
Mhm.
It did talk about the pressure washer incident. And it did talk about some names that he called Sebastian. And this angers me. This
The R
infuriates
word?
me.
The R word?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that in the past too, that this is, and I also had heard long before this. That's why I said, people were getting all upset about him talking and saying that Sebastian's his son. He never, and I mean never, talked like that to anybody prior to Sebastian disappearing. And I have problems with that when people start changing.
Yeah, I agree with you 110%.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see if you wanted me to email that to you,
Yes.
just so you could look over it.
Anything related to this case that you think might benefit me in my research, might benefit me in my understanding. This goes for everybody out there. Send it to me, because I am reading it. Even if I find out it's wrong or not, it's getting me researching. So these things are helping me in my case. I don't know what to think of it, but I heard about that. I listened to some of the call in, and it's like, I believe that life is stranger, that reality is stranger than fiction, but it's like almost unbelievable some of the stuff that's being said now. So I'm having a hard time digesting it personally.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And I don't know what makes my mind go back, but I believe it was in the beginning. Chris said something about this would be something that's talked about for like time to come. Do you remember that?
I know he said a lot of weird stuff. I got to go back through his interviews, because the interviews are starting to run together for me. Before, I had them all, like, I knew exactly where this portion of this and this interview, but now there's been so many, I've lost track. I need to go back and review all the interviews. It's going to take me forever.
I think it was more toward the beginning that he made that statement.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It just, regardless, in my opinion, I know that, everyone's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I get it. I understand that. But with so much that's been said and so much that's going on, I'm wanting to think differently.
Well, and we have to think of it like this, and I think people have drilled it into the hate channels have drilled it into people's minds that you're innocent, and you are innocent until you're proven guilty, but they fail to tell people the one key fact: you still have to be accused, and you still have to be arrested, and you still have to go to jail. So you are innocent until proven guilty, but you still have to be accused, and we are accusing people.
I think he's been accused of a lot, but it just, I don't know. I just don't see enough happening that should happen. Mm-hmm. Let me put it that way. That's how I feel.
But if they do have relevance, this would be how they could test that. They said about the mattress. If they didn't take the mattress or test the mattress, shame on TBI, shame on Sumner County. Because if they can prove that there is a whole bunch of urine on that mattress, then it might give them a little bit of, angle to go at them and say, why is there a mattress in your garage that's, filled with Sebastian's DNA and his urine, and your neighbors are saying that you got him sleeping in the garage? That would be potential child abuse charges, more probable cause to get in there to do the forensics if they haven't already done the forensics. They're not telling us anything, but I have a funny feeling they haven't done forensics.
I don't think they have either. I don't know, because nothing, has been said. That's what's so crazy about this case. Mm-hmm. Nothing is being said. And I know some things they have to keep close to the vest, mm-hmm. and I understand that. But
oh, sorry.
Something should have come out.
Right.
By now.
Yeah. I agree.
But I do have this information for you. I will try to email that to you right away, hoping I don't have any problems. But my phone does act stupid sometimes. So,
That's okay.
but I will try to email you this, and then that way you can look at it and see what you think. But if I feel that they didn't thoroughly search that house, could he have crawled up in the attic in that garage?
Or be put there. I mean, I to be honest with you, I don't think that this boy, if this boy was going to run away, he would have run away long before this, probably in January when all this stuff was, coming, just getting to a head. And so I would have thought that would happen back in January when Chris left and all this stuff was going on with the Department of Children and Family Services. Not now, right before Chris's trial to find out if he gets his daughter. I mean, it just seems so Alex Murdaugh in timing.
Well, I agree. I agree with you 110%. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish me and you could team up and work together on this thing because, but it's just so crazy,
Well, like I said, I'm happy to collaborate with anybody and everybody that's willing to bring answers to this family and just bring answers to this boy. I really don't, whether I like somebody or not, if they're doing the right thing, I'm right there next to them.
Yeah, I put Sebastian on my Facebook page with several people, pictures of him. And granted, they're younger pictures, but still and I have friends everywhere in different states, So I put his picture on my Facebook page so that they could see, hey, this child's missing. He has autism. Please help us find him.
Right.
And I haven't heard anything, from any of my friends or anything like that, but all of them give me a thumbs up. So
very good.
Never know.
You never know. And we don't know where this boy is. I mean, I have my opinions. It doesn't mean my opinions are accurate. They're just my opinions.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
really
me. I have my opinions, but they're my opinions, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will try to email you this, and it was so great talking to you. I'm a subscriber to you. I haven't been able to join it, but I probably will.
I appreciate it, and God bless you.
All right. You have a great day, Betty.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Betty. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Betty, this is little Shawnee from Kentucky. How are you?
Well, hello, Charlene. It's nice to hear from you. How are you doing today? Oh, no. I'm so sorry. I just hung up on Charlene. This is Betty. Who's this, and where are you calling from? Charlene, please call back. Oh, no. Somebody just hung up. I'm so sorry. Charlene, call back. I hit the wrong button, and I ended up hanging up on you. Hold on, I'm going to try to, because this is not Charlene. I don't think this is Charlene. This is Betty. Hold on, I'm going to try that. This is not Charlene. I don't think this is Charlene. Hello, this is Betty. This is Betty.
Hello?
Hi, you're going to have to turn me down in your background.
I just want to let you guys know that Trevor, that little boy, got what he fucking deserved.
Who?
Sebastian, he got what he fucking
God,
deserved.
quit trolling. Grow up. Grow up. Like we don't know a troll from... Good Lord. Grow up. That's awful. This is Betty.
Hi, Betty. It's Robin from Florida.
Well, hello, Robin from Florida. How are you doing, my love?
Just like the rest of everyone.
I keep hitting the wrong button. Sonia, you're going to have to call back. Good Lord. I'm turning... Okay, I'm going to turn this off. I know this is Charlene. So, Charlene, thank you for calling back.
It's little Shawnee, baby.
Oh, Shawnee.
That's okay. But I was wondering, have you heard, this came out this morning that they are selling their house, but it won't be on market till June the 1st. And that says one of his PIs just quit. Have you heard that?
Okay. No, I heard about the house.
And then I was told that I am wrong about that there's no proof that the house is going. I love this whole thing. There's no proof the house is going on the market. Well, enough people are talking about it that, I believe it's true, and that's what I said. So I heard it was going to...
I'm sorry, go ahead, hon.
No, go ahead.
I just think they can't go back to the house because I think something terrible happened in that house.
I do too.
Yeah.
I thought that from the very beginning whenever the mom left, because I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. But I was just curious if you had heard about that and his PI quitting.
No, and I'm curious as to which PI has quit.
I'm not sure either.
But I do know that, through this process, according to one of the PIs that said it publicly, that Seth can be a handful. And I can imagine, with him not having, it might be a little too much pressure. There also might be, these things cost money, right? And it might be where they're configuring some stuff and saying, hey, we can't have you two. Now we're going into a different phase of the investigation or something to that effect.
Right.
But I don't know.
Okay, honey, I was just wanting to check with you. You have a great day and keep doing what you do.
Sorry for hanging up on you.
No, you're fine. It's okay.
All right, love. Take care and God bless.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Now if I could just get the other ones that I hung up on. So if I hung up on you this morning, please call back. Here's Sonia. Thank God. Sorry, Sonia. Is this Sonia? Is the one I hung up?
Robin, and please don't hang up on me.
It's Robin. I got all the names wrong, too. Welcome to Saturday. Robin, it's nice to see you. I will not hang up. I'm not touching the buttons.
Okay, listen. Middle Tennessee Reptiles on Facebook. That's where Chris hangs out. Middle Tennessee Reptiles.
Okay.
Go into the search bar and you can find Chris Proudfoot in there.
Okay.
Everyone's got something to say, and it's not nice.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, let's go in there. Actually, let me go in there. You said that's on YouTube or Facebook?
It's the Facebook.
Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Might as well look at it while you're on the phone.
Oh my! And I'm not gonna give up. Look, you met your match, Chris. When you read my messages, you've met your match because I've been fighting for a long time for my daughter that's been murdered. And you know what, Katie, you are not a mother. Katie, you need to find your son and get rid of that man. If you're scared to get rid of him, go to a shelter.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get his daughter back. Nina is gonna make sure, and with all this going on, he probably won't ever get to see Faith.
Yeah. He probably shouldn't. Because I truly think he, and it scares me because I wonder, she's a girl. And.
Right.
He
didn't want Sebastian in the house. He don't even like Sebastian.
He sure didn't. The whole thing with the throwing his stuff away. I mean, they were so mean. Like, I can't understand how Katie can watch her son and try to be so happy with his disability and them being just so damn mean to that kid. Like, how can you just be mean to him like that?
You know how I feel is, why now at the age of 15 you birthed that child and raised him up to be 15 years old and now you don't want him?
I think what if it's because they finally, have the jobs, they have the money, they finally have the life they want, and the anchor holding them down is Sebastian. Because they've been footloose and fancy free since he's been gone.
Right. I've been following this case for a long time, and Sebastian, autistic children are very smart.
Yeah,
They are.
and that's what the other caller was saying. They just learn a little differently. They do things a little differently, but yeah, they're pretty creative. Actually, you know what? They're probably more crafty than we are. As far as figuring something out that's more complicated. Sometimes I think we overcomplicate things.
Right. But I believe they're both guilty. And they need to get out there. Katie needs to get out there and fight for her child.
Mm-hmm.
That's her baby.
Yeah.
I've been fighting for 30 years and I'm not done. I went back and forth to Michigan and I rallied for my daughter with the news.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not done fighting. I've got 5 grandkids and 3 of them are teenagers, and they know all about what happened to their niece or their aunt.
Mm-hmm.
They know everything. And I do have another son, and he knows that when I'm gone, he's going to have to take over.
Right.
So she needs to get up off her white ass and go out there and fight for her child.
Do you think she is at this point? I mean, it's been 2 months. We haven't heard. She stopped even outside of social media. I mean, Facebook, bitching at people.
There's always hope. There's always hope. There's always hope that somebody can reach Katie Proudfoot and say, ma'am, he needs you just like you need him. Get rid of Chris. You get Navy pension, get your son back, get his check going back, and y'all go somewhere else and live. Sell your damn house. That house is Chris and Seth's house. I mean, Katie and Seth's house. It's not Chris's house.
I don't know. They just bought it. They didn't buy it too long ago. They were in California when Katie and Seth split up.
Well, she needs to fight for her son. That's all I got to say. I mean, that's not a mother. You throw your son away at 15 years old. It's not like he was out doing drugs and whatever, I've raised many teenagers and weren't even mine, and of course they did what they wanted to do, but I wasn't their mother, I was a mother figure, but she's not even a mother figure.
I don't know what happened to her. I mean, the outside of their home looking in just seems, like a normal functioning family. And if you saw, Katie or Sebastian out, you'd know that he was most likely has some disabilities, but he would look happy. According to his father, he was a happy kid. And just to think that happy kid was just dealing with so much behind the scenes, I think it saddens all of our hearts.
Yeah, I really do hope. Now, I was watching another YouTuber, and she's Emma, and she had a call from, yes, she had a call from a lady in Georgia. She said she's seen that boy, and she didn't want to be rude, so she went back and asked him, what is your name? She's an old lady.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Seb, like short for Sebastian.
Yeah.
So she called it in, and then the next call was Chris. And she called her back again and told her the same story. And she told her where she was at, what store she was at, and someone Googled the store name, put it in the chat, and I guess it's going to be checked on.
Yeah.
But Georgia is, it's not too far from Florida.
No, it's I can usually get everywhere in Georgia in 6 to 10 hours. So
yep.
Yeah. Do you find it odd or funny that it seems like every time there's a sighting of Sebastian, Chris is the first to be there to try to diffuse that sighting, as if he knows that it can't possibly be Sebastian?
Yep. Just like when the pants were found. Oh man, Terry, she is such a good person. I can't tolerate Chris. I would
Well,
I would call him everything under the sun.
I don't get it. We have, and that's what I talk is, people don't realize that we have families that come to these chats that are dealing with situations or have dealt with situations like this. And you're a prime example of one that has. And it's hard for you. And I got to think that it angers you to see these parents acting this way with everything that you're going through.
Right. I mean, I've lost 2 children, and my oldest, he was diagnosed at the age of 14 with epilepsy, and he passed away at 29. He drowned due to a seizure. And, watching those little crocodile tears from Katie does not impress me much.
I haven't even seen them. To be honest with you, I haven't seen one tear on her face. I personally haven't seen it.
I tried to get a hold of you to go to Michigan with me because we went in June, and this dude was sentenced to another life term without parole for doing what he did to my daughter. This is the second judge, and he's appealing. His attorney goes up in front of an appealant officer May 23rd.
May 23rd, so it's coming around the corner. I don't think...
Yeah, but
I did look at some of the stuff that I had seen. I think you sent me some stuff a while ago, and I was thinking, he seems like he's going to be in... I pray to God. I know he's getting close to getting out, but it sounds like...
He's been in there for 30 years. He ain't going nowhere.
I know, that's what I found, because that's what, when I was looking into that, I was reading the articles, and I was looking, I don't think anybody's going to buy it, which is good.
As long as you fight, I'm going to fight harder.
Yeah.
And my words are strong. When I get in front of a judge and I see him, my words are strong, and I am loud. I don't need a bullhorn.
I really don't either. It was funny because when we were out in front of Northport, and they finally told me I needed to put my bullhorn. I couldn't use my bullhorn anymore. I said, okay, so he goes, you can use your voice. He goes, it sounds like your voice is probably more powerful than the bullhorn anyways.
Right. When I was standing up giving my victim's statement, I was like nervous, and then all of a sudden I got louder. And the only time that boy looked up was to look at my daughter's picture that I took in there. I said, I would love 10 minutes with you with my daughter's picture to see if something happened to that down there. Yeah. You know what? You're a pervert, you're a monster, and you deserve nothing.
And we can't let those type of people out. We cannot let those people out of our jails. They don't change. They don't change.
Your apology that your defense attorney just read off, because you can't, because you're a coward, screw you.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to let you go. I know when I was calling in, it was really hard to get a hold of you, so.
Yeah, well, I turned it off because I didn't want to hang up on you again. I'm so sorry about that. I felt horrible. It was like one right after another. I never do that. I don't know. My eyes. It's my eyes. We're going to blame it on the eyes today.
Well, you keep going on with Sebastian. I believe something's going to break, and I'm thinking May 8th. I don't know why. I'm thinking May 8th.
Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed and pray to God that something breaks soon.
Right. Yep.
All right, Robin.
It was good talking to you.
All right. I love you, and God bless.
And God bless you.
Bye-bye. And not only that, but she's one of a few parents that have reached out to me or talked to me about this case. And it's not easy, and it really, really, really ticks people off. This is Betty. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hi, Betty. This is Lisa in Virginia. It's nice to speak to you again.
Yay! It's nice to see you. What information do you have about the case? What do you think?
Oh my goodness. I cannot even believe that Chris and Katie are fighting with people on social media. I watched your video about his post that he made on Facebook, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Tell me that didn't
You
sound
got the
Don
right
Wells.
Huckleberry?
That sounded Don Wells, didn't it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it just is it's inconceivable and unbelievable that people missing, we're still saying missing a child, are behaving this way. And I heard an interview with a neighbor. Have you heard that interview with the
You're talking about with the whole
retired...
mattress and the pressure washer and all that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is so disturbing. But I was really glad to hear from someone that had interaction with
That's if it's
Katie and Chris.
true. I mean, they didn't really corroborate the person on the phone. The person just called in. So I when I hear that, I listen to it.
No. This was a group that actually were doing interviews with neighbors, and it's a retired pilot that did a full conversation with them and allowed them to put it onto their YouTube channel.
Can you send me that? Because I think I think I'm talking about two totally different. I'm sure we're talking about the same event, but we're talking about two different hearings. Like you're hearing it from one source, and I'm hearing it from another source.
I think so, Betty. Because I've been waiting for you to break this.
Yeah, can you
so I will send you what I saw.
To my email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Great. Absolutely. And so this neighbor knew about the mattress and the CPS from the CPS. The CPS interviewed the neighbors.
So okay. So we knew it had to be some type of abuse.
That's what the CPS, yes. Sebastian, according to what I've heard, again, I haven't corroborated any of this either. So from what I've gathered, Sebastian went to school and told a teacher that he had been sleeping on a mattress in the garage. And the teacher reported that.
Yeah, that would be something that they would be.
So, you think, winter and sleeping, even if it's a, finished garage, come on, that's not right. You don't put your children in the garage with your car to sleep. That's just so wrong.
It's abusive. You're telling your child they're trash.
So that's where, just to stay on that point for a second, because there was a little bit more in the interview, but Katie was doing that. Chris was gone working. So if Sebastian was sleeping on a mattress in the garage, his mother was either following orders, I don't know, or she was doing that.
Or maybe that's why he left. He wasn't going to sleep in the house with Sebastian. And she probably had to bring him back in. So when he disappeared, she did punish him. Maybe she did throw him back out in the garage. I don't know. These people are crazy to me.
These people are just absolutely some of the worst characters, and they absolutely are very much like Donna's Candace Wells, in my opinion. I have a girl I went to high school with, and she had a severely autistic son. And she was a petite person, 100 pounds soaking wet. And when her son got older, he was nonverbal. He had, very limited bathroom skills. And it was really hard. It was really hard for her to manage that. It doesn't sound like Sebastian was like that at all. But I bring this up to say, her now husband, boyfriend at the time, I actually witnessed him. He was Chris Proudfoot almost. And it's just unbelievable that these children with autism end up in situations with people that don't know how to properly guide them and help manage when they have outbursts and things. And it just straight turns into abuse. It crosses so many lines. And even if it's out of frustration, it's just never okay. And, you know, so Katie probably was very overwhelmed, and I think she snapped. I still think Katie did this. And I think she did this because again, things we're hearing is that Chris had told her, and I think the neighbors spoke up and have said, you know, they heard Chris saying it's either him or me.
Well,
And
we heard in the beginning of this, there was that email going out that Chris had, or a text message or something that Chris said, well, I hope that you pick your son, or something like that. And that's when I started realizing there was a lot more contention going on behind the scenes. But this was like day 8. This was like when they gave that first interview. I was going through everything, and I came across that.
That's crazy. The neighbor also said that they would have the neighbors look out for each other. So if somebody goes on vacation, you know, it sounds like a very good neighborhood community. And a lot of people evidently walk quite a bit. And they have seen and heard things when passing by, Chris being exactly like we're all seeing, and the way he's speaking to people on panels is the way he would speak out in his driveway, and neighbors would hear and see it. The neighbor also said that they invited the family to a neighborhood picnic, and one time, and Chris acted like we've all seen Chris act and talk to people like we've all heard Chris talk to people, and they never got invited back.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have neighborly communications. Also, what was brought up was that the neighbors are not being harassed by anyone.
Oh, I never thought that they were, because, I mean, to be honest with you, when I looked at that community and people drive, that's normal stuff that we see in every missing person case. You know, some media out there, some you know, true crime people out there, you know, just driving around taking, I mean, nothing out of the ordinary for a case like this.
No. And so the interpretation of this particular neighbor was that, you know, they aren't feeling that way at all. But that's the nonsense that the Proudfoots are screaming, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem, and they want the child found. The neighbor said that the Secret Service actually came to their house. They've spoken with the Secret Service. They have been heavily interviewed by law enforcement. And that there is, the neighbor speaking said that the commotion started because he gets up at like 4 a.m. He said the commotion started.
Who is he?
I'm sorry?
Who is he? Who gets up at 4 a.m.?
The neighbor.
Okay, so the neighbor gets up at 4 a.m. Okay, thank you.
The neighbor gets up at 4 a.m. He was awake the morning that they reported Sebastian missing, and he said the police commotion started at about 10 to 7. And looking at the Ring doorbell footage, Katie was not gone for 30 minutes. She only hopped in her car and left for about 10 minutes, I think. There's a huge, there are very big discrepancies in what the Proudfoots have put out there about her going to look for him and how long it actually happened. So if you're only gone in your car for 10 minutes when your kid is missing and you're supposedly in some hysterical panic, really? You're going to spend 10 minutes-ish, give or take?
Well, in all fairness, yeah, I mean, if you know your kid shouldn't be out, and like, I would think that her waiting too long would be, 10 minutes. If you haven't seen your child walking, I don't know. I'm not put in that position. It's a double-edged sword because you call too soon, people say something. You call too late, people say something. 10 minutes, I mean, I'd have to think that in 10 minutes, you know whether your kid is, I mean, the school seems fairly close. So if you haven't seen him on the streets or the school, I'd be freaking out and within 10 minutes. And you know how I feel about the Proudfoot, so I'm not trying to, but reasonably
right.
10 minutes,
Sure.
that's reasonable for me.
Yeah. Well, then why change your story?
Exactly.
That's where I go back to, I fully agree. Like, my dog wandered off the other day and I, went panicked running and it didn't take but, 5 minutes to find her.
Right. Yeah.
But, I get that part. But at the same time, you said you did all these things and you didn't do them.
Oh, well, we know they haven't done anything that they've said. That's the problem I have.
Right. And the jumping on to the call-in shows and attacking people on social media, like, threatening people. The cease and desist was hysterical, I thought. I loved that video that you did. And you have to actually know somebody's address. You can't send them a cease and desist letter on Facebook.
If you need some tips on cease and desist letters, you can just give me a call. It's right there, 724-249-6140. I'll walk you through the process, babe. I'll walk you through the process. No need to recreate the wheel. I got it down pat.
And I'm sure that you would be able to give him that really fun report, that hurt feelings report.
You know what? My HR department's already bankrupt. I don't think it can handle any more hurt feelings.
That slayed me. That's so good. I don't know who made that. But
I don't either, but it was perfect. We don't get a little, because all these cases are so draining on all of us. We don't get to really have fun with the cases too much, and I try to lighten it up a little bit, because to be honest with you, I was doing it a certain way and it was weighing me down, and I got to think, if it's weighing me down like this, it's got to be weighing my audience down. So we just needed to change it up, and we've got to lighten the mood a little bit and get people focused on these cases, but not be so daunting and so emotionally draining.
Well, I think there's so many of us that, even outside of the YouTube creators or true crime community, you wake up and check your phone for an update. Did they find him?
Mm-hmm.
Did they find anything new? I just learned something new from one of your callers a few minutes ago that was like, oh my gosh, and that's extremely helpful. So we're all set. We've kind of adopted Sebastian, and really, really want to help. I don't think that it was about the PI quitting, which is very, very suspect, because there was an interview done with the new PR representative in Seth, I heard also.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't know how I feel about the guy. He seems knowledgeable. I think, everybody's
I don't have any issue with that guy. I just think that, and I do think Seth needs a spokesperson. I think that's a good idea. But simultaneously, as this PR person is now representing everyone and saying on a live, I'm handling all the media, you have Chris and Katie fighting with people on Facebook.
I don't think they're going to be able to correct that behavior, because I think Chris and Katie are in a preservation type of situation right now. I think that they are just, I can't imagine what their mentality is behind the scenes. And it's not for Sebastian,
God.
And that's the bad part about it. It's not for Sebastian, it's for them. But I think it's self-preservation.
And that makes you question what's going on with that. There's a reason why they're so triggered and fighting so hard against anyone looking at them.
Hold on a second. Justin For All's up in the chat. I want to give a big shout out to Justin For All. It's nice to see you, my love bug. Sorry.
Love Justin. Love Justin. Love to him. So those are the newest things that I know. I will send you what I saw. Justin actually was on a panel with the two going through the interview with the neighbor. Mm-hmm. So he has the info on it too, if you are in connection with him. Yeah. So it's astonishing, but it's nice.
This whole thing with the neighbor, hold on a second, but this whole thing with the neighbor and hearing about the Secret Service, that gives me hope, though. Yeah. I mean, it gives me hope, because that means the Secret Service and law enforcement are hearing these stories. they're seeing the picture being
Yeah.
painted along with us, guys.
I believe, listening to what I heard in that interview with this very wonderful neighbor, I think personally that they're saying it's not a criminal investigation so that they can keep the Proudfoots talking.
Yeah.
I think that there is a silent, secret, parallel investigation that's been going on since almost the beginning.
There has to
And
be. Have you ever seen the Secret Service asking the neighbors questions for a missing boy? There's there is a major investigation going on here.
There has to be, and I'm glad about that. I'm also very sad about that because I don't think that gives us the right result, the result that I would like to see. I think it gives us the unfortunate result that nobody wants to see happen.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if they had him in the garage sleeping at night, that's really, I mean, what else would you do? I'd go for a walk around the yard too. He may have wandered off, and then they panicked because they were putting their child in the garage and he got out, like your dog, oh, whoops, and I hope that they find him soon because it's been.
This is one thing I can say about Tennessee. Tennessee is they do amazing work to find people. We've had a lot of people since Sebastian and even Summer Wells went. We've had a lot of people that have gone missing in Tennessee, and they've found these people. The people they found. It's the ones that they can't find I have a problem with in their ability to bring a case against people. And like the Wells, I made it very clear: abuse, neglect. All those things.
Yeah.
Why have they not been charged a thing after 3 years?
That's really mind-blowing to me also. Like I'm in Virginia, so we recently had a trial and conviction of a parent in a case where they never found the child and convicted
I
the
think
dad.
is that the Cody Bigsby?
Yep, exactly. And I think also kind of like in your state, you have the Stephen Stearns. They didn't immediately charge for the unaliving.
They charged him. They charged him for the photos on his phone. They would have put him in jail for something else. They would have found something else. He was going to jail.
But the first charge was what they knew they had him on. So I think, in Virginia, they had child neglect, is how they got him in, and then, went on from there. But so that's where I'm like, okay, CPS was investigating, before Sebastian went missing. So why can't they bring some sort of charges there?
And that's the same thing with Summer Wells. We have the same situation with the CPS in Summer Wells as we do here in this case here. Summer Wells was visited the day before she disappeared. If they would have just removed her from the home, she would still be here. And again, Sebastian was seen by CPS a month before he disappeared. If they would have just removed him, he would still be here.
Exactly. And I don't understand how that happens. And I know I've had friends that, were involved in that line of work, like, CPS kind of people. And, you burn out. I mean, the stuff that they have to endure daily is just more than a human should put themselves through. You know what I mean? Right. So my heart goes out to people that do that job. And I think they do a great job. But I also think that a lot of times their hands are tied unfairly because of legislation and laws and things that, you know what I mean? They may want to remove the child, but they're not able because of whatever legality. And then too, I think a lot of times you get somebody that might be overwhelmed, burnt out, and just didn't do enough that day.
Right.
And so that's something that I think as a community we all need to look into as well. And support those people and hug them regularly, send them muffins and cakes and cupcakes, because their job is hard.
Right.
And never blame to them, but at the same time, these kids in these situations really deserve so much better, because like you said with Summer Wells the day before, if they would have, just taken her out,
And not
that
only
case
that,
is
but
just
you know what? It
heartbreaking.
pisses me off because Don Don came down and talked to me. I told you guys that the last time I was there. I hollered up in the mountain. He did come down and talk to me, and he told me this one part of the story that we did not know. And that was the fact that the social worker, as they were leaving, the female social worker, the supervisor, saw Summer outside and around the corner of the house. And he said while he was talking to the guy, that she went over there to talk to Summer. And she sat there and talked to Summer for a few moments and walked back over and said, okay, we'll see you later. And, he was trying to imply, is it possible that the lady from DCS may have came back and got his daughter? But the bottom line is that she actually went over there and spoke to Summer Wells privately, away from her parents. And I don't know what that child told that social worker, and neither does anybody else.
Wow. And these kids, I think, when you're going through so much abuse too, I'm proud of Sebastian for telling a teacher he was having to sleep in the garage.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him for that. Because I think a lot of times they don't tell, and they don't out of fear or shame. I don't know. But my heart just breaks, and I think that they, personally, on the Summer Wells thing, I think they sold her.
Yeah. I don't. I think the father did something, and something happened. But there's a number of things. That's one theory. Another theory is they left her in the car. Another theory she's dry drowned. But either way, it all comes back to the same players, and it still comes back to something was hidden and covered up.
And can't these parents be somehow, how many CPS cases does it take with Chris Proudfoot to get the attention of people? I mean, there's so many with him.
Tennessee takes a lot. Look at the Wells. They had cops going in and out of their house, fist fights there, alcohol, drugs, going to jail, all this stuff going there, and not one time did the Department of Children and Family Services visit them or go and remove those children from that toxic environment. And this happened for years.
That's just not acceptable. It is not acceptable. And I hope more people that are, because we get invested in, cases like Sebastian, look at it also from activism standpoint, going to legislative bodies and speaking up, saying things have got to change, because these kids deserve better.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be happening. I mean, we don't live in a perfect world, but at the same time, this should highlight somewhere that some things need to be changed and addressed in relation to, these kids in these situations. If the cops are coming all the time, come on.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a overwhelmed system. And that's no excuse.
All right, Lynn, well, I got to cut you off. We're over 20 minutes, and I got people calling.
Okay. All right. Bless you all, and have a great day, Betty. Keep doing what you do.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Great conversation. Love that. This is Betty.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. How are you today?
I am great. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
Kieran from Ohio. And hi, Justin for all. Love you too, buddy. You know what? I got a new theory on this situation. I've been watching.
I want to hear theories. Bring it to me.
Okay. In my opinion, and allegedly, have you ever actually paid attention to all the pictures of Katie and Sebastian together? They're both smiling, really happy and all. And I'm beginning to think, she's sitting back letting Chris handle everything, but he wasn't there, right?
Wasn't there, according to him.
Oh.
And her.
Okay. Now, the problem is, and the lady in that picture up in North Carolina, the mother, the picture that JLR showed of the mother, That picture was 9 years old of the mother.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm believing that was the mother.
So the grandma.
Or the grandmother, either one. I believe, but Seth said he hasn't seen Katie's family in 12 years last night. So he really doesn't he had no reason to see them.
Well, that tells me at least that she had communication with her family 12 years ago. So that does clarify something, because one of my questions was, does she still have contact with her family?
Exactly. But let me tell you what I'm thinking. Now, I'm beginning to think this. She knew her marriage was over when he didn't come home all month. And he pretty much let her know. He crucified, he criticized her child, and she only had the one child. Now, I'm believing she has placed that child with a family member. And you know what? She's sitting back, letting him make a total ass out of himself. On national TV, she's keeping her mouth quiet. She ain't saying anything because she felt, you think that you're going to make me get rid of my kid and I'm going to raise your kid? That ain't happening. So she may be playing the game on him to keep him from getting him and his mother.
I think Katie's a piece of crap. I don't think she's playing any game.
No, I do too. I agree with you. But I think she's a piece of crap enough with enough intelligence to say, if I'm going down, you're going down too. You don't want my kid. You ain't getting your kid.
Yeah, but if the whole altercation and the divorce, and just in my opinion, and I like to debate this just a little bit with you, but if that was the case, and why didn't she just send him to Seth and say, hey, Seth, we're having marital problems. I need you to take him for a while until I get this situated, and I'll take him back once the divorce is over.
Okay, I'll tell you why. Because why do you think her and Seth got a divorce? There's a reason why they divorced. Mm-hmm. And I believe, in my opinion, Seth seems like a nice guy and everything, but there's a reason why they divorced.
Oh, he's hot-tempered. I can tell you he's hot-tempered. I can look at that man and see he's a hot-tempered man, but he still seems innocent.
I do think she loved that kid. Now, I'm not going to this is just me thinking, and the reason I'm coming up with all this now is because of all the stuff. All the neighbors are coming out saying how Chris treated the kid. Can you imagine how Katie felt when he's screaming at her kid, get your little R? It's going to be me or him. Think about all that, because all her pictures, she was always smiling in the pictures with the boy and everything. I'm not saying she's perfect, and I'm sure she's devious. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I for some reason, and another thing that really has got me thinking, she's fixing the Proudfoots where they ain't going to get that little girl since they all resented her little boy, is because she made sure she had his mother there that morning.
Yeah. I wish I could think good of Katie, but I don't think Katie has a heart to
I don't think good of her either. I have no respect for her at all. Mm-hmm. I have none. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I think she's got enough to where she can manipulate and make him think that, because she ain't coming out saying nothing.
She hasn't said nothing since the Reels interview. She's been quiet.
Exactly. She's sitting back, and he's making a total AS of himself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you know what? And the nation is seeing it, and him and his mama wants his little girl.
Yeah, I don't think he had a chance to get the little girl anyways, but
I don't think he did either.
A fighting chance.
But he didn't know that. He didn't know that. But I think Katie's seeing it now, too. And I really believe she's got that kid planted. I think he's somewhere. I would pray that she wasn't stupid enough for a guy to hurt her child.
She's stupid enough to let a guy hurt her child. One of the biggest things about women, and I have been guilty of it myself, is you do a lot for matters of the heart. You do a lot for matters of the heart. You believe the best in people even when they're garbage. And things happen, and you still believe their lies. I couldn't have done it. It wasn't my fault. It was all his fault.
I know. See, I'm lost in that. Me and my husband were in kindergarten together. He's the only. We've been married 45 years. I've never dated any other guy, and he's the only guy. And we have 2 girls, and then we got 4 grandkids.
Aww. Here, hold on. I got to get a round of applause for you. 45 years.
But I just have a funny feeling Katie's playing him for a fool, and she knows where her kid is.
Yeah. Well, I pray to God that be the case, because you know what that means. He's still
she's
alive, and he's still kicking, and he's still got his fingers and his toes, and he's healthy and happy. You know, I prayed for that, but the stuff I'm looking at just isn't leading me to believe that, unfortunately.
Well, see, Seth said last night he really believes that picture is his son.
And I understand that. He's also a father of a missing boy. You know, and
exactly,
he's going to be hopeful for anything to be his son. And, you know, I'm an outsider looking in that doesn't have that emotional attachment, and I can see clear differences.
Well, they did say the reason they would not show video to the family or anything, because they was worried about them being able to get the license plates off the vehicles. And
this is law enforcement. They've got blur options, just like we here on social media have blur options. If they were concerned about license plates, they could have blurred all the license plates out. They could have blurred all the cars out. They could have just showed the boy. They could have blurred everything out but the boy. So
right. Another thing they really need to do, because Tennessee is sorry law enforcement. We've seen it with Summer Wells. They should have been arrested years ago.
Right.
And I'm going to be honest with you. They need to bring another state, a better law system from another state in there. Police, because Chris Proudfoot's sister works, is it for the sheriff's department or the police department? I think that's who he called that morning. I really do believe that's who he called.
I think things happened the night before. I think the calls would have been made the night before, but who knows? I mean,
that's a possibility too. But I mean, that's maybe how the mother got there.
Yeah.
Is because the sister quick called mommy. But
there's something.
That's just my theory. I
appreciate it. I love hearing new theories, new perspective. It's definitely something to look into. The grandma, you know, there are a lot of people talking about it, honestly. They've been comparing.
Yeah, now that picture that JLR pulled off the grandmother's Facebook, he said was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, I really think that is a family member of Katie's.
It could be.
Because they look too similar.
Well, we can pray. That's the only thing.
Let's pray. That's right. But I hope they don't hurt that boy. Yes. I hope they let the boy come back.
But I just have a funny feeling with Chris and his uncontrolled behavior, his outbursts, the stuff we're learning from his neighbors, it's not painting a very good picture. And in addition to that, we have a 15-year-old boy missing.
That's another thing that's got me. Now, let me tell you something. You know, they brag about all the money the Proudfoots have. Everybody's been saying that they're loaded. You know, that's another thing that bothers me. They're out there looking at motorcycles and everything. They own all this big stuff. I mean, what is it, the fifth wheeler? They own all that. If they did not know where that kid was, don't you think she has to know where the kid is, because she would have started hawking that stuff, I believe,
you would be selling
get a ransom up for that child.
Yep, you would be selling.
She knows where that kid is, because if that was me, I'd hawk my house. I'd do everything to find my kid.
Yeah, they haven't sold anything; they're buying stuff.
Exactly. They're buying stuff. That's why she has to know. But I really think she's setting him up for a downfall, and I really don't believe he does know. That's why he's so irritated online. I can't stand the guy. He's a creep.
Yeah. Well, I got to let you go. We got other callers calling in. God bless you, and thank you for your perspective.
Take care, honey. Bye.
Bye-bye. This is Betty. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
This is Amanda from Alabama.
Amanda from Alabama. I love it. Well, Amanda from Alabama, what do you think's going on here?
Okay, I just want to say one thing. I do not think there's any way in HE double hockey sticks that they're going to stash this kid with a family member or anything else, because, especially Katie's family, just simply because, especially with them being in trouble with the law, there's no way they're going to take a chance on a kid they haven't seen in 12 years and getting back in trouble, going back to jail like that. That, to me, just does not make sense at all.
But criminals don't make sense.
Well, this is true. But you're gonna put out that he's a missing kid, and then you have the FBI, the Secret Service, or whatever involved, That doesn't make sense to me. I think there must have been an accident where somebody lost their temper or something of that nature. But it doesn't make sense to me they would try to stash this kid anywhere else or put him in boarding schools unless it's outside of the U.S. and it's a shady boarding school. It's not happening because these people are going to see the coverage on the news. I mean, this case has gotten out there pretty well.
It's overseas, so even if he was overseas, it'd get out there to them too.
This is true, but now there are shady operations out there in like places like Mexico and South America. I know because I've had friends tell me that, you know, these kind of places exist that would know. But aside from that point, and I don't think that's what happened here, I think that there was some kind of accident and they made it disappear. They got gone, in other words. Just kind of like Summer Wells. But I just don't see that being an option. Now, the other thing I was going to say was there was one perspective. I was trying to call in last week. Everybody's saying, well, why wouldn't she just give the kid to Seth if there was problems? And you're right. I mean, if there was problems, you would think that. But on the same hand, in my opinion, and Chris is definitely like a narcissist. And I think that the type of person he is, I had an ex-husband like this. He would probably take that as an offense that he could not make that kid follow his rules and his program, especially with the military background. You know, they always think they can whip him into shape and that, you know, they can give the proper form of discipline. And it's, oh, stand back, let me deal with him. I know how to deal with young boys. And then they wind up butting heads. And that's sounding like what they had going on. Mm-hmm. So I think that to me, sending him to Seth, I think he would count that as a personal affront. Like he couldn't do his job, and that Seth was more able to get him to cooperate and behave. So I think that he would take that offensively. But originally, back to my original statement, I mean, I just think that's not an option, that they're going to stash him somewhere else. It's going to get all over. It's going to come out. You know, now, the kid could have ran off or had help going away, but as far as the parents stashing him somewhere, I just don't see that.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Thank you so much for your perspective, and call back again.
I will do it.
All right, love. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye. So, talking about the finances, we brought the finances up here on the Bullhorn Betty channel when I started diving into that aspect of their life. And I came across stuff like I thought that they were living well beyond their means. Everybody kept talking about the Bowersox having all this money. When I looked into it, they didn't have money. When I looked into Chris, he didn't really have money. It seems like Katie's the breadwinner in their family. This is Betty.
Hi, Betty. This is Michelle from Florida. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, Michelle. How are you?
Good. You're looking real good these days, honey. I mean, you always do, but you look really good.
Aw, thank you.
You're welcome. And I wanted to kind of go back to the beginning or one of the interviews where Katie said, oh, that boy, he couldn't run. He ran like, if he tried to run, he looked like an animated character. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was awful to say. So I don't believe he ran away. I mean, unless he can walk real fast. Right. But she would say he couldn't ever run. To me, that's past tense.
Interesting. And what really,
yeah, and what really bothers me too is she said that when she noticed all his shoes were there, she knew he was instantly gone. So if my children, I know their shoes, and I would look and I would know what was missing. If my child, because when I moved here to Florida, I got bit by those no-see-em ants and got bit pretty bad. So I learned never to go outside like that. And I just can't see him unless he's forced out of the house to be barefoot. But when I listened to that interview, everything was past tense. that boy couldn't. He would eat all the food, not, oh, that boy could eat. Those words to me are all like past tense,
Mm-hmm.
And I just still get concerned about that. Why not, after the photo, could she even provide, or LE wouldn't ask her, well, if all the shoes were there, I want you to provide these that were in the photo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But if he did, if something happened inside that home, it would be plausible that maybe they removed him and didn't think about his shoes, and it was too late by the time they realized he didn't have his shoes on.
Yeah, yeah. And what do you think about the neighbors saying what they said? I do believe the one that said they would be vetted or whatever, or would give their testimony, be recorded.
Well, it sounded more promising than what I originally heard, with that one caller calling in and saying that the Secret Service was there and this neighbor said this, that, and the other. It sounds more reliable than what I had originally understood it to be. So hearing the stuff that I heard today does make me be concerned, because we have been going over what would trigger a teacher to call this in, and we identified it had to have been some form of abuse. And then hearing this bodes right into that, some form of abuse.
Okay. And one last question. I don't want to keep you. I know you have other callers, but I don't understand. Like, I know in Illinois, where I used to live, if somebody whipped a child, CPS, you're done. So I thought they were all federal laws, and he's admitting to hitting Sebastian with a belt. Why could they not just go on that? I mean, and then for them to come and tell Sebastian, oh, you can't make up stories, the CPS, I've never heard of that, telling a child and using like, well, he's autistic, so maybe he makes up things.
Yeah, I don't believe that conversation had. I think that Chris was not being forthcoming with the conversation the CPS worker said to Sebastian, because I've never heard a CPS worker talk like that to a child.
Okay.
But we don't really know. But as far as what was the other question? You had another question in there related to
that I don't understand why CPS, since Chris is admitting about the belt, and they knew that was true.
Yes.
In Illinois, you bruise your child, you're charged.
Yeah. So it's a rearing law. So Illinois may have different rearing laws than say Tennessee.
So that's what I was wondering. Are these all federal, the same with the CPS, or each state has their own laws about the DCFS or?
The federal law would not have anything in there about rearing your child. So rearing your child is lawful and legal. You can spank your child. There's nothing illegal about spanking your child. You're allowed to properly rear your child as a form of discipline in the United States of America.
You're allowed to?
You're allowed to spank your children. Yes.
I thought that was taken away years ago. No. I just put mine in corners.
No.
And turned on their favorite cartoon show and put them in a chair.
Yeah, no,
and boy,
I don't think they'll ever get rid of being able to rear your children.
Yeah, because when I was teaching, that's what we learned with normal children. That the age they are, like if you're 3 years old, then they only sit in the corner 3 minutes.
Right. I don't believe you should ever hit a child under the age of 5. I really don't.
Yeah,
I think that
I got the belt and. Oh my God! They must all have their different rules, but all back in our ages we did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and all parents. I'd ride my bike past the grocery store.
Let's be honest. If we had the laws that they have today, all of our parents would be in jail. Let's be honest.
I know, but I would ride my bike. Mom would say, "Oh, you stay right here, right in front of the house and 2 doors down." Well, one day I rode it over to the little Woody's grocery store, which was like a block and a half away. I get home and my mom asked me, why were you at Woody's? Well, it wasn't until we got older they told us every neighbor would watch everybody's kids working together. Way back And, you know, I'm 64, so it would have been back, you know, when I was, even if I was in 5th grade or 4th grade and went past a distance, a mother would call another mother. If my mother saw their kids, they all stuck together in the neighborhood, like that neighborhood watch, but they knew where everybody's kid was and didn't want anything to happen. You know, we don't have that these days, but life is a lot busier too than when we were younger. There's more things to do and go about, but I just wish that Katie Proudfoot, why I don't trust her is that it feels to me like she's just sitting in the background like, ha ha ha, I got this made. I got both men working for me, you know, talking about everything with the son, and I'm out of it. You know what I mean?
People are definitely starting to put some of the blame on Katie. I think because even my mods, I have a couple. I think I have one main mod that's been on the. She believes Katie's the culprit. She's maintained that from the beginning. You know, and her and I's story.
Me too.
Yeah, so are different. I think Chris is the culprit because of the markings on his arm. But either way, I think the point is somebody in that house did something to Sebastian.
Yeah, and if she knew of the neglect, and he gets charged with neglect, so should we, and she will never be able to be around children again either. And what I want to say is what bothers me about Chris saying about Faith, that he didn't want Sebastian there because of what happened to Sebastian, he'd do it to Faith. Well, if Katie was one, and I don't want to pick on the survivor because I know what that's like, but why is it okay if it happened to Katie that she wouldn't turn into one, but he does that to Sebastian? Mm-hmm. You know, says that he will turn into a SA.
The only person that's been nasty, mean, and just a really bad person prior to the disappearance seems to be Chris. Chris is the one that can't control himself. It's all about Chris, and Katie has allowed him to come in her life and within 8 years completely destroy it. Yes. And that's something she's going to have to come to grips with sooner than later.
Yeah, and one more question. In the garage, okay, when you go through the kitchen and then Sebastian's room, is the garage out that way or is it on the other side of the house?
They have 2 garages. One's a carriage garage that sits toward their room in the back, toward the back. There's a carriage garage, but there's a 2-car garage right up front by Sebastian's room, and that, or across from Sebastian's room rather. And that particular garage there's actually a loft above it.
Okay, and he didn't know that code. Yeah. What do you think about, and I can kind of understand neighbors coming out now rather than before. I'd be scared to death, but I would tell what I saw. But then I understand why they're coming out more now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, I actually, I mean, I understand what your point is, but no, I don't understand it because so many neighbors said they did not know anything was going on in that community, that they are so heartbroken that there could have possibly been a child being abused in their neighborhood and they were none the wiser. Yeah. And then now we're hearing that there appears to be some neighbors that knew of this abuse going on and failed to call it in.
Yeah. And I don't understand why the ones that knew didn't call it in all the way, right away, unless they knew the CPS case was going on, or one of them called, because they saw something from the outside. So that one's safe. But I mean, my God, if I saw the neighbor next door out there whipping and beating up his boy, I'd be on the phone right away.
The first thing I would be doing is hollering at the guy while I'm on the phone.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. I'd have my husband do that because I'd be afraid I'd get beat up or something. But yeah, and I would too, and I just don't know any mother in any cases or of my friends or anyone that would expect the world, don't give up, or, we're not going to give up on you. We're searching everywhere for you. Please, anyone, if you see Sebastian, call out his name, whatever. It's like they're expecting the world to do everything for him and do all the looking. But then they lie even on Sebastian on that interview by saying, we will never give up looking on you. Well, they're not. They're expecting everybody else to do what a parental responsibility is. And I've never seen a mother never look for the child.
Never cry,
you know.
never beg. They shouldn't even come here and beg us to give her son back.
And if she was abused by Chris, right now is her perfect chance to go to the police and tell and get safety, but then she can still get in trouble for neglect. But I don't know. It's just up and down, isn't it? I mean, every day something changes.
Everybody can get in trouble for everything. It doesn't matter. Sometimes doing the right thing is the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do. You know,
I agree.
This woman
is
military. They're ingrained to do the right thing, and both of them have been despicable.
Yeah, I mean, even in a car accident, if we see someone get hit, and a lot of people, you probably know too, that get hit by a car, they actually stop and they wait and pull over as witnesses,
right?
You know, and that's just a car accident to say, yeah, that car hit that person first, you know what I mean? And so I just don't understand it, but I just wanted to call in and see if sometime you can go back and watch that interview about
I need to get back and rewatch all the interviews because we now have
they're all past. And if he runs like an animated character and she thought that was funny, well then how could he run away, Katie?
Right. And not only that, but we have
boy
more
could
information.
Never run. You know, I would say my son can't run. My son could never run. Not, you know, couldn't.
Right.
You know, so, okay, well, I don't want to keep you. I know.
God bless you. Have a great Saturday.
Okay, you too, sweetheart.
Bye-bye.
Keep up the good work.
Thank
Okay,
you.
later, Betty.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Later.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the phones off for now and just, I wanted to go over a couple things and then we'll turn the phones back on. In my opinion, Trina getting evidence to prove C and K behind Sebastian missing, but they must find evidence to prove probable cause to take to the judge to get warrants. Sebastian won't give up until, I think you meant Seth, won't give up until you are found. Sebastian, we won't give up until you are found. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Misty. God bless you for that. The polygraph is another hot spot for me. It really is. It's another hot spot for me is this polygraph because I just don't trust Chris Proudfoot. He was too busy, too eager to get to the finish line prematurely, in my opinion. He was saying and screaming from the rooftops that he had passed a polygraph months before he passed a polygraph. And he said it multiple times. This is not word salad. This is a man that went out to the public and said he is cleared of any wrongdoing and has passed a polygraph in support of that. That's what he told the world. And we found out that to be a lie. Now we're learning from Nick Barris that it's possible these people, and I'm going to say it's possible because this is the only inadmissible item. If law enforcement was going to lie to us about anything, it would be this. So it is possible that they passed the polygraph test. So some of the questions that I have been researching on this, and I just want to fill this in, and then we'll open up the phones back up. Can anyone pass a lie detector test? In essence, it's within the realm of possibilities to pass a lie detector test when you are lying, but it's very unlikely. The best advice is not to rely on so-called strategies and techniques you have learned from the internet or a helpful mate, but to just not take the test if you intend to lie. That's what they recommend. Just don't take the test. And as you know, Christopher Proudfoot was very, very, very resistant to polygraph tests. Now, I think that some of these, I do believe that polygraph tests are a great tool to use, but we all know, don't do that in my chat. We all know that these are inadmissible for a variety of reasons. It's because they're not 100% accurate. And that's a problem. Things need to be accurate.
Another question that I had put in here, what are the odds of passing a polygraph? The accuracy of polygraphs are practical insight. So that's what they're saying, that you get the accuracy of our practical insight. Using our actual experience as our basis, we found that the lie detector's accuracy is exceptionally high and typically ranges from 88% to 89% in real-world examinations, as opposed to study environments with an average of 95%. So they have a high accuracy, but they're not accurate. Can a truthful person fail a polygraph test? Because of many physiological and psychological factors that influence results, you may fail even when you are completely truthful. 5 things that can contaminate a lie detector test result. 1 is guilt. The term lie detector is belittling. Drugs and medication. We talked about that with Seth Rogers, the drugs and medications. Certain drugs and medications can affect how your body responds or is unresponsive to guilt and the polygraph examination. Unprofessional examiners. Remember, I told you I want to see the test questions, which comes to the next thing, which is test environment. Now, here is the one main thing that all of us believe is going on here, and it's mental illness. Mental illness does affect and throw off the polygraph examination. Now, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you that Chris is a sociopath, a psychopath, a narcissist, or anything else. All I can simply say is he's got a lot of traits that we have been seeing exhibited. So I think good morning, Ellie Mae. It's nice to see you. What does it say here? I think if they got a motorbike, if they had to run away quickly. Well, he already has a motorcycle she could be on, right? And they have a lot of toys, and they're already over the state line. So if any charges come, they're going to have to be extradited. So like they've got themselves positioned pretty well. They've got their selves positioned very well. And I think that's it. Do I have any other things pulled up here? So that's really all it is about the polygraph. And the reason why I bring up the mental illness is because we talk often about how can a psychopath or a pathological liar pass a polygraph test. And here's what it says. It says, and this is from a article from 2017 that was published in UK. So it's not a USA article, but a few years ago, I was listening to a radio interview featuring a well-known psychiatrist from UCLA School of Medicine. That's the University of Los Angeles, so it is local, or at least in our country. At some point in the interview, the interviewer asked him to give his opinion on the validity and usefulness of polygraph tests. The psychiatrist's answer was most polygraph tests are useless, since so many criminals are psychopaths being pathological liars can easily beat the test. Because of his credentials and notoriety, I'm sure that most people believe what he said. For my part, I just sat there and thought to myself, the shrink doesn't know what he's talking about. He was merely spouting off about his personal opinions without having taken the trouble to pick up 1 or 2 of the scientific journals. If he had done just a little reading, he wouldn't have made such a fool of himself. Polygraph examiners test psychopaths all the time. By the way, if you do not know how much about psychopaths or sociopaths, you should rent a copy of Goodfellas. The movie vividly portrays a mobster, gives fairly accurate views of the mindset of a psychopath. Psychopath and sociopath comprise of large segments of the criminal population, including white-collar crimes. These are people who psychologists call antisocial. Their activities and behaviors violate the basic rules of society. Must have been in order to function well. Many of the characteristics of psychopaths lead people to believe that they can beat a polygraph test at will. For example, psychopaths and pathological liars, they don't have the remorse or the guilt for their crimes or sympathy for their victims, and they don't accept responsibility for their actions. Basically, they're not particularly concerned about the things that they do, especially when those bad things bring them money or power. So how do we know if psychopaths can't beat us? We do little scientific research, and one of the handy things about the research is that it cuts through the theoretical argument and gets down to the essential basics. Can a psychopath produce false negative outcomes at will? And this is at will. I don't know if they can, and maybe they can. The polygraph charts were analyzed at a later time and also shows psychopaths produced a stronger EDR than non-psychopaths, and also had a greater heart rate slowing when they were being deceptive. One more juicy piece of information from the experience is no subject, psychopath or otherwise, was able to beat the test. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't believe it. I don't believe Chris Proudfoot passed his polygraph test. I don't. It's either he didn't pass the polygraph test or we've been lied to that he just didn't take it. Or he took it by himself and turned in the results. I don't know. I'd like clarification. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know, I'd like to give factual information. If he took this test and he truly passed, I would like law enforcement to say it. What I have a problem with is giving it to a news person and not saying it on the record. I'd like to see the police guy that has no problem telling us to mind our own business and that there's nothing to see over here. Well, okay, since there's nothing to see over here, and that nothing to see over there produced a polygraph test from the nothing to see over there, we would like to know the results of those polygraph tests. If he truly passed, tell the public. If you truly don't believe the Proudfoots have anything to do with this case, why don't you relieve them of all of this nonsense here on social media, and law enforcement come out and tell us that you stand next to them and tell us that you are looking at other avenues, just like J.D. Huff did for Brandy Neal. We're not getting any of that. As a matter of fact, we're getting no press conferences, and we're damn sure not getting any press conferences where the police chief or sheriff is sitting there with the family begging for somebody to turn over information or bring the kid back. We're not seeing any of that either. We see it in a lot of other cases, but I haven't seen it in this case, and I didn't see it in the Summer Wells case. So I've got a problem with that. But we definitely saw law enforcement standing there with Riley Strain's family, right? He's a missing kid. Why was he so special? Oh, the parents weren't even around when he disappeared, so they were absolutely cleared. And it's kind of funny. You got law enforcement standing next to them, but not the Proudfoots? Not the Wells? If we're wrong, if social media is wrong, law enforcement, tell us. Prove it. That's what I've got to say. Chris, if I'm wrong, prove it. And don't prove it with your voice. I don't listen to the shit that's coming out of your mouth. Close your pie hole and bring us some real stuff. Because I personally think Christopher Proudfoot is a pathological liar. I'm not going to diagnose him with any mental illness. I do believe there's something definitely wrong with that man. But I can tell you my personal experience and what I personally witnessed, I can definitely attach a pathological liar to Chris. I can do that all by myself. I've seen it with my own eyes. We can assume that he's a psychopath, a sociopath, and a narcissist if we want to, but we have no proof of that. His actions definitely suck. His controlling and domineering behavior is what's leading us to believe he's a narcissist. The fact that he can't control himself and stay off the phones when people are being mean to him. You know what we would like, Chris? Instead of you having to argue, you and Chris and Katie, if they are listening out there, which I'm pretty sure they are because they got more time to be here on social media watching people like me than they have to be out there in the woods searching for their son. But I think what would change the minds of many people here is not you going on any more social media platforms and professing your innocence or trying to do more self-preservation actions with the use of social media or mainstream media. What the public wants. Let me be crystal clear on this to Chris and Katie Proudfoot. I'll even bring the microphone up here. Can you hear me? Got the microphone. Let me be very, very crystal, ultra crystal clear. We want you out in the woods. We want to see you crying. We want to see you actually looking like you give a damn that this boy that had every need taken care of by you. We would like to see some freaking concern on your face. But moreover, if nothing more, give us an effing video of you posting one effing flyer. That is all we want to see. I don't want to hear you talking. I don't want to hear your freaking excuses. I don't want to hear your mouth at all. I only want to see the backside of you posting flyers and hitting those woods. That's all I care about. Anything less than that, you're smoke and mirrors. Anything less than that, you're smoke and mirrors and word salad. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. When you got women out there in those woods and you can't get a big guy like Chris Proudfoot, you know, he wears the pants, don't you know? And he's too scared to get out in those woods like a little bitch and a pussy. But yet he has something to say about to a woman. At least she's got more balls than you, dude. And your wife. If you want my truth. So that's what we want. Here on social media, what we want to see is we just want to see that you give a crap about your son. And that's what we're not seeing. And that is why we are breathing down your ever-loving neck. And trust me, you think it's pressure now? This ain't even my foot on your neck. I haven't even applied not even one stitch of pressure to you yet. I can promise you that. We want to know where Sebastian is. We want to bring him home. And quite frankly, as sad as this is, we want to bring him home dead or alive. We just want him back. And I know that Chris and Katie know. They know. You're not going to convince me otherwise. They know. Nobody acts like this. Don Wells acts like this. Candace Bly acts like this. And now we're going to add Chris and Katie Proudfoot to that list as well. Right along with Trezell and Jacqueline West. Corey Bigsby. We're going to add you to the list of the misfits. Misfits has been the key term here lately, right? All right, guys, let me put these phones back on. Are the phones back on? I'll open the phones back on. If you guys want to call in, we'll leave the phones open until you guys have gotten an opportunity to get some of this out of your system and off your chest, because I get to take it off my chest every time I talk about these things, right? I get to relieve my frustration and anger and aggravation because I get to put it in words, right? I get to write it down and I get to set it free and I get to move on and stuff like that. But there's people in my audience that just keep going through it all, going through it and through it and through it and through it. And it gets a little daunting. It gets a little difficult. It gets a little hard. So if you got some things, you got some opinions, you got some perspective that you've been mulling over, let me know. Phone 724-249-6140. I know we've had quite a great day so far. Lots of great perspectives have been called in today. Lots of great conversations to be had. This is Betty.
Hi, this is Claudia from Tennessee.
Well, Claudia, how are you doing? How are you surviving in Tennessee, should I ask?
I live out in the country. I have been following this case since the very beginning. And there's one thing I noticed on your show that I haven't seen you point out. Mm-hmm. There was a video of the lights, or supposed lights, and one of the people took and zoomed in on it.
That was J is for Justice, yeah.
And it shows that there was a ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a grandparent, and I'm a mother. And I know how I would behave if something was going on with my child.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if
you're not wanting to bring attention, you're bringing a lot of attention to yourself.
Yeah.
And not everyone in Tennessee is a bad character or person, and I hear the comments sometimes on some of the things like these backdoor people. No.
I love the people in Tennessee. You guys are some of the most warm, gracious people.
But I've just been following the case, and I live right off of 40.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been following a lot of YouTubers since, and I'm really not into this. I'm kind of up there in age, like these young people. But I've noticed they've had a lot of people vanish off of Interstate 40.
Mm-hmm.
They've had young girls come up missing in their 20s. And I'm looking at all these children that come up missing. When this case first started, I tried to be a little open-minded. I started thinking, with that other young child was taken out of her bedroom in the middle of the night, and she wasn't found for years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I really tried to be positive and open-minded until I seen that video of that scuffling outside with those lights. I must have watched it 20 times to see if I could see what this person was describing. And then you can actually see someone raise their hand.
Yeah, I did.
And I'm thinking,
but you know what the problem is that it was so bubbly. I look at things and I'm like, if I have to have somebody explain that this is an arm, could it be something else? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it could. But this is where I questioned that video.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if this truly did happen outside the house, why didn't the animals pick up the scent?
I think they did.
A child being there.
I think they did. I think that's the whole scent going to the construction site that just vanished. Like I think that it did. I think that I do believe there's something that did happen. I'm just not sure what. And I absolutely looked at that, and I was pretty surprised when I was watching JS for Justice, and she was pointing it out, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty interesting, right? But yeah, I always step back from it, and I'm like, would I notice this? Would this be something that I would? And it's like, without it being, so I always caution myself. So I'm a little delayed because I always get beat up the most on here on YouTube if I get something wrong. So I do try to delay some of the stuff as, if I can corroborate it as much as possible, but I don't know one way or another what that is. But
it's just, there's so many theories out there what happened to this child. And it's a really shame, because we do know children are kidnapped all the time. Mm-hmm. There is those innocent parents that has nothing to do with it. And then I see this young father, he's out here looking for his child. And then you got two parents that aren't concerned.
At all.
And I guess...
At all. And they're angry. They're angry with Seth for actually giving a shit. I'm just like...
Right. But see, this is my thing, and this is how I think, is, there's people out there that kill their wife, their children all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm always thinking, why didn't you just get a divorce? Mm-hmm. Right? So if I'm taking care of a child and it's too much and I just can't deal with it, why would you not make arrangements to make sure he did get with someone who would take care of him?
Yeah, and it sounded like they made that arrangement with Seth like weeks before.
See, that's what's so strange. I feel like the child, when I heard this morning watching your show about the pressure washer, I was thinking, who does that? Mm-hmm. That's a very sick-minded person. I wouldn't even treat an animal like that. I wouldn't treat anything like that.
Right.
But another human being, I mean, how can you do something so cruel?
How can a mother sit and watch something like that happen to her baby? I mean,
I think she is caught up. I'm going to be honest. I think she's caught up in something. She don't even know how to deal with herself. If he treats the son like that, wouldn't surprise me if he treats her like that. Mm-hmm. She could be in a very abusive relationship. We don't know. We don't know what goes on behind those closed doors.
No, we don't. We're starting to see some cracks in it. That's for sure.
Well, I think he has abusive tendencies. I don't think he has the guts to stand up to someone who would stand up to him. I notice how when he calls in on the shows, usually it's women giving the shows, like he's like dominant over women. So I was thinking,
I wonder if he'd talk to another man like that.
He hasn't called into the Bullhorn Betty show. Just saying, just speaking the obvious.
Well, it's a shame because there are children who are abducted every day, and the citizens come out. Tennessee has poured out their heart to try to find this child. Yeah. There are people out there searching every day. I work in a profession where I have a lot of people coming through, so to speak. I'm always looking out. And then someone made the comment, you know, why didn't she walk up? The picture's been a big thing. Why didn't she walk up and say, hey, Sebastian? Well, from what I heard, he's nonverbal.
Oh no, he's
you know what I mean?
No, he's verbal. He's a high functioning autistic boy. He's verbal. He's not nonverbal.
So he could speak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that whole thing was drawn up to get people kind of sidetracked and going down a different road. Mm-hmm. But if they think he's alive, then they'll stop looking and they'll stop focusing on us.
Yeah, there's something there. I don't know what, but you know, I hope it. You know, at the end of the day, I really do hope this is just a hoax. I hope this is a Carly Russell like 2.0. I do. I want it to be. I want it to be another. What is that? Rudy Farias. I would love it to be another one of these cases, but I just the way the parents are behaving.
When he wasn't found immediately, I started praying for the young man because it's like if he did wander off, mm-hmm. the search crew that they had out there and the people they had involved, they would have found him.
They would have found him. They would have found him.
They would have found him. And then I heard some report, I don't know if it's true, that she went driving around that morning.
Yeah, for about 10 minutes. Yeah, it sounds like she went around the community for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, because see, I've heard different times on that.
So
it's like you don't know what to believe, what not to believe, what is true. And let's get to the lie detector test. If he took one, I don't understand why the authorities would not come forth and say, look, guys, parents did take a test, they passed. We need to focus in different directions.
Exactly.
Did another family member harm him? I just can't picture that happening. But then when I heard about her mother, I was like, wow. You know, it sounds like the whole family's got some issues.
Mm-hmm. And that's typically what we see in cases like this, though. I mean, there's a reason why these cases happen to certain families and not other families.
Exactly. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I loved watching your show this morning. I was like, I'm going to see if I can call in.
Well, please call. When I open the phone lines, please call in because this is kind of, this is how we, I mean, like, just this call alone. I mean, look at all these notes I got just from my call-ins. Just from my call-ins. These are all the notes that I took just from my call-ins. So it's, you guys do help.
And I want people to know that everybody in Tennessee, I think there's a lot of people that aren't speaking up. They're just average people that they've got their eyes open, that everybody's looking for this child. Mm-hmm. Everybody just praying that he'll come home and be safe. But as every day passes too, it's like something's not right.
And then we hear another story about Chris, about a despicable action Chris did that was unholy, and it's just, it just doesn't get, it makes us feel really uncomfortable. The reason why we're looking at him and think something bad happened to Sebastian, it's purely because of how they're acting. Because they're acting like something bad happened to him.
I can't picture myself going shopping if my child was missing.
Hell no.
I just can't comprehend that.
Hell no.
I mean, I think any parent that has a child, why would I go shopping when my world just got turned upside down because my child's missing?
How can you think of like, I go through like this when my dog, because I don't have children here, but when my dog got injured really bad, I freaked out. Like I came in, after being at work all day, and I brought my dogs in, and my husband at the time, he saw something sticking up on her. He thought it was just like she got like something sticky in her hair. And she must have got under one of the trailers and she jammed her. But long story short, it freaked me out. And I couldn't even think, that's my dog. And she's got a child missing. And then my dog wasn't missing. My dog was injured. My dog was injured. My dog needed stitches. No, it's a big deal, but no big deal.
Her child has been missing for weeks. We get nothing from her, and she's shopping for a car. I couldn't even think straight. And this is a dog. And she's out being able to shop for a motorcycle. I don't understand that.
And when they come on these talk shows like Nancy Grace and stuff like that, there was a case back in Mississippi many years ago, and the little boy was missing. And I remember the mother being interviewed on TV, and I told somebody, I said, look, that just don't add up. Mm-hmm. Come to find out the boyfriend had killed the little boy and threw him on a trash pile. These people that are doing this, I see it every day. If you go through YouTube and just scan children dying, parents killing them, 13-year-old kills his mom, it's like, what in the world is going on? You know, the basic steps of, you know, love. Mm-hmm. There is no greater love than a mother for a child. And I'm looking at her reactions, and it's like, one, is Chris controlling her and not letting her speak? Which I can picture that happening. Or is she covering for Chris? Because I've noticed in one of the interviews where she kind of nudged him.
Yes, we all saw
and I was
that.
I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, that was the green
You know,
shirt interview. And I never saw it until just recently when somebody pointed it out. I think that green shirt interview holds a lot of more information.
Well, it's like you see these parents come up, they begging for help and, you know, find my kid, it's missing. And then every case that this happens, you find out the parents were involved in the child's disappearance or did harm to the child. And it's like, when you said a while ago about the lie detector test, is that a way that they could have took it and passed? I think if you were that cold, it wouldn't surprise me if you took a lie detector test and passed.
Yeah.
Because you don't have no emotions, you don't have no feelings. Well, you know, you can convince yourself of anything.
And according to the study, they're 12% inaccurate. So was he part of the 12% of just being just lucky? I mean, just lucky.
Well, I know there was this case. I can't remember the young girl's name. I'm sure some of your viewers might remember it. She was asleep, and she got kidnapped out of her bedroom, and they found her years later. Parents had nothing to do with it. Then there was another case where a little girl went to a slumber party. The guy came in with a knife, tied the other two kids up, took her out of the house. She was found deceased. Mm-hmm. So does this stuff happen? Yeah, it happens. Not that often, but it does. There have been cases where somebody was taken from their home and abducted. But my question is, you were with him, and I don't believe that you were on the phone with your husband to midnight. I mean, how much could you possibly talk about?
I don't think anybody.
You know, I could.
I don't think I.
I mean, seriously.
All of my years, okay, and I've had some, you know, back in my younger years, you know, when you were like teenagers and stuff like that talked as much as me, where we'd stay on the phone for a couple of hours. But out of all the stuff, out of all my, I don't know if I've ever stayed on the phone with anybody for 3 hours.
It's just odd that she says she heard that thump.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to everything they've had to say. I hear that thump. If I hear a thump, and even if my grandkids or my kids are visiting, and I hear a thump, I'm going to get up and go check and make sure they're okay. You know, did he hit his head on something? You know, I would be thinking like that, especially with a child that's disabled.
Right.
You know, and she says, well, I said something to him, he responded. But my question is, if your door's automatically locked, which God knows, and the last thing he pointed that out when he got so rude and ugly with the other people that were questioning him, if your door's automatically locked, the whole story just don't make sense. I mean, the whole story, you being up to 12 o'clock, you telling him good night, you remember what he was wearing, but then you don't remember what he was wearing.
And the only way you could corroborate it is by the missing clothes.
Right. And then I think the clothes they found out wasn't really his. I heard that the clothes they found.
No, it was just a pair of pants that Terry Lynn found, and they're not his. Mm-mm.
Right. So, I mean, we got all the YouTubers coming to town, going out there, which we appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Some people have a negative attitude towards that, but I think that's wonderful because the more you get the press involved, the more likely you're going to find out about it.
Yeah.
I think if they did harm him, they had no idea they were opening up a can of worms, because the people are going to sit back and say, look, something ain't right. The neighbors speaking out now. I have neighbors. I watch their place. I see what comes and goes. It's none of my business what they do or when they do it or how they do it. I don't want to be one of those nosy neighbors. If I've seen somebody harming a child, no, I might not walk over there. But I tell you what, within 2.3 seconds, there'd be cops pulling in your driveway.
Yeah. Especially
they don't have to know. Right, they don't have to know who called the cops. Mm-hmm. The police doesn't work like that. If you see something, say something. Yeah. And I think a lot of people is getting to that point where if they do see someone being mistreated, they do say something.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to
and I don't believe.
I'm gonna have to cut. I'll let you wrap that up, but I'm gonna have to cut you off there because we got somebody else calling in.
I don't believe, this will be my last thing, I don't believe that they, I don't believe their story. I guess that's one way of putting it. But I love your show, and keep it up, and let's keep it going till we find out what happened to Sebastian.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much for your contribution today. And please call back when we have the lines open.
All right. Thank you.
God bless. This is Betty. Hi, this is Betty. Who are you and where are you calling? Well, I know you're calling from overseas.
Yeah, I'm calling from Ireland.
Well, God bless you. What do you have to contribute? Who are you? And we know you're from Ireland. And what do you have to contribute to Sebastian Rogers' case?
Well, I was just watching your podcast here, and I just wanted to have a couple of points,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of really sad at the way you mentioned mental illness with regards to the stepfather. He's a sociopath, which is a trait. It's not a mental illness. It's a trait that he's attributed over the years. People that suffer with mental illnesses do not, I don't want to say the word, but you know what I'm talking about as regards to, like, Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I just wanted to kind of clear up here, that it's very hard to hear and listen to when you have a mental illness that someone says because he's a sociopath that's a mental illness. It's not.
A trait. Okay.
It's a trait.
Right.
And it's learned behavior. So, regarding that, I have a high-functioning special needs nephew, and he can't go out on his own. He can't cross the road on his own. He's 21, and we have to make sure that he's always, with someone or, that knows him and things like that, or he will go off on, he'll go off the Richter if he doesn't know you or anything. He will totally scream.
So he has a trigger,
and
it's strange people.
100%. So what I was I've been following it, but there's not many people following this case. I've been following the Karen Reid case, so I haven't, but I've been always intermittently looking, obviously, for, if any news about Sebastian because of the fact that of my nephew. Mm-hmm. And it hits home you know, that what could happen in the early hours of a morning. And I know they're out in a weird setting, so to speak. There's hardly any neighbours. Well, there is neighbours, but it's like isn't it kind of more in the rural parts of the area? And so it would be limited to who would see what was going on. And I do agree with the last caller regarding, you know, what they're doing in the aftermath of all this, i.e. the mother. But there's one thing I wrote down and said there's no greater love than a mother. And I can honestly tell you that's not true. Because we've seen it throughout everything. I've read books about it. I've done classes about it. Narcissistic mothers do not care. They'll look after. They won't nurture the child. They'll look after them, but they will never nurture. Now, I'm not saying that this woman did not nurture this child, but as far as I'm aware, and maybe I'm a wee bit back on this case, is that he was going to his father's soon. And then miraculously for the mother and the stepfather, he's gone. And I'm like, well, why not just let that handover be peaceful and let Sebastian go to his father? Where he would have been happy.
I don't know if he'd have been happier at his father's, but I think he should be at his dad's. You know, I think he should have been at his dad's.
Yeah, 100%. And I've watched the father, and I think we, as human beings, can catch out a liar quick, because it takes a good memory. What's that saying? You have to have a good memory to be a good liar. Yep. And I've watched other podcasts, whatever you want to call them, and he is weird, but mental illness is a different thing, and that's the only thing I take kind of offense to is, you know, as I said at the beginning, this is a trait that he has in his own being, and if the police or whoever, and YouTubers are actually doing more for people out there, and especially children, than, and I dare say it, than the police. And I'm, like, it's happening here too, you know, it's happening all over the world.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely disgusting. The only thing is that it's more in America, which makes it more like you're asking yourself, why America? Why is this happening in America? And like I've tried to find people who've been missing. I found one, and I can put my hand to my heart. I found one here for his mother, and I just rang up Missing Peoples and gave a description, and he was found. And it was the best day of that woman's life, and they were reunited. He just wanted to go, but he had a mental disorder where he went, and he was an adult. This child, high functioning, regardless, I believe that he left the house, but I do believe and it's killing me to even think about it, but that in my years of living, I'm 53, that child was taken, happened in the house, outside the house, whatever you want it,
right,
and taken away somewhere to be. And unfortunately, after February the 24th, I can't say, and I know there was a sighting.
Yeah, there was a sighting over the weekend. But I don't mean to cut you short,
Yeah,
but we're going up on 9 minutes, so I'm gonna have to let you finish up your comments. So I can,
Okay. That's all the pointers. But the only thing is, like, I want to emphasize, a mother. You know, there's no greater love than a mother. That's not true, and I can honestly tell you that that's not true. There are narcissistic.
Well, yeah, but I mean, for the majority of the moms, though, there's no other love than a mother. The narcissistic part, you know, yeah, I think any narcissistic parent would not be caring emotionally for their child.
Yeah, and does it not show?
She's definitely. I mean, this is the first time we're looking at her as a narcissist. I haven't really looked into that. I mean, I've been paying so much attention to Chris Proudfoot that over the last few days we're just kind of now starting to focus on Katie. So yeah, if she's got those traits.
Well, that's the whole point of this. Everybody's thing on him. Yes, there's something. Obviously, we all can feel there's something not right. But she's the main parent, and she, to me, didn't want to deal with it, and
didn't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah.
Do what you want. I'm sick of this.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Allegedly, all the words you want to say on YouTube, but I really do think that. All eyes have to be on the mother.
Yeah.
Because that will give the answers.
Gotcha. All right, love. Well, thank you for your perspective, and please call back again.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless. Bye.
All the way from overseas. Yeah, I think she brought up some valid points. Hold on, let me grab this. This is Betty. Who's this?
Hello?
Hi, who's this and where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Lee from Virginia.
Awesome. People have been wanting you to call in. It's nice to hear from you, Lee. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I listen to a lot of you YouTubers.
Mm-hmm.
And last night I was listening to Illuminati, and Chris called in. And he called in as Sling Blade, joking around, and he went from that to other voices. And he actually had a pretty good call in, you know, a lot of information all about Sebastian and, you know, things that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He was being Chris, joking around, stuff like that. You know, a lot of laughing, which, you know, I guess he felt like he was in a safe zone.
What new information did he provide?
Well, you know, he talked a lot about Sebastian and all like that. But the one thing I was listening for to see if he would rebuke what the neighbors had said about him. And I never heard that, but that's really what I was listening for. But Katie also released a couple videos of Sebastian bowling and him at a lacrosse game, I believe, wearing a, you know, like a team shirt or something.
Where did she release those?
And last night.
On her channel or on another Facebook?
Oh no, on Illuminati's video on her show last night. But it was really interesting. It's worth to listen to. He did, you know, he was on there at least an hour, maybe even longer. But it was a good call in from him. I do still have mixed reviews about things. I honestly don't believe, you know, he's involved. I mean,
What do you
That's
think?
just my
Okay,
opinion.
so we all believe that, obviously, our speculation is Chris and Katie did something to him and blah blah blah. You already know what our What do you think happened?
I don't really know. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I've had a lot of, mixed emotions and all about it.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I just thought I'd ask.
I believe that he was kidnapped. I almost believe maybe about a pass off or something like that. I still don't believe he actually walked out the house. But, I sit there and I listen to everything from almost day one. And, I truly believe he's alive. I believe that was him in that picture. But after you see the videos, if you see the videos, I don't know when those videos was taken, but he does look somewhat different from what you see in that photo. But I just hope and pray that he is alive, and I hope and pray they find him soon if that was him. But the interview last night with Chris was pretty good. He's just, I guess he felt like he was in a safe place and all, and just kind of unwind.
Well, I like those interviews because I like to see people, I like to see people in their environment. It gives me a lot of perspective. When you got people and they're stiff as a board and they're not comfortable, you're not getting the real person. I'd like to see, the personality.
Right.
I'm assessing this, and if you're going to be acting like a stiff board in front of all of us when you're a more relaxed person, show us the real person so we can just move on.
Right. I think he was really showing that last night. Like I say, I've had a different outlook on him for quite a while, because I've really listened to him, and yeah, he's an asshole, so to speak, but that's just the way he is, and from what my understanding, I mean, even he admits that. But
we all know assholes. I'm an asshole too, but I don't have missing children.
Refute what the neighbors have said about him. The sad part is that Seth is finding out all this information from YouTubers about, the abuse if it's real. And that's just if it's real, if it's the truth.
Right.
And that's not good. Poor Seth, he's really going through it. But it's a shame he's having to find out this way. Here's all these neighbors, knowing things that he don't know that he should know.
Yeah. But we definitely know there was something going on behind the scenes because I don't, I have a lot of people that have had Department of Children and Family Services in their lives for a variety of reasons. And there's a lot of people out there that have no contact with the Department of Children and Family Services. And they've had 2 calls in the last few years for a disabled child. And that's a problem for me.
Right. The thing about him hitting him with a high pressure water hose, that's bad.
Yeah.
Because them things can really rip you in half. I mean,
it's
do
dangerous.
some damage to you. Because what people don't realize is those I use them all the time, and they've got tips that you insert on the end of them for different jobs, washing off concrete to houses to removing paint and stuff like that, and they can really do some damage. And I doubt he had a really high tip in the end of that hose, but if that's something that he did, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't think it was I think this is a telephone. I think there was something that happened with the water and probably pressure water, but I don't think it was a pressure cleaner. I'm hoping it's not because that's dangerous.
Well, a lot of people do use those pressure washers to clean off the vehicles and everything, because it's actually harder than the ones you use at a car wash.
Right.
I mean, on the tip that you put in, that's the difference.
Yeah.
But I feel a little sorry for this young man. I want him found, and if this was him in this picture, they need to hurry up and find him before maybe something does happen to him. Yeah. Hopefully we'll move on this pretty quickly, and hopefully this upcoming week we will find out.
It's like this. We're already approaching a week. It's been 7 days. I don't understand how they have not been able to locate and just either tell us or. I mean, this should be a no-brainer. I mean, they've got cameras there. There was a photo.
I think it's wrong, in law enforcement not showing him and Katie the footage because really and truly, they're the ones that can identify him. But how can they identify him if they don't show them the video?
Right.
I don't,
It doesn't.
I
That
understand the
doesn't
part
make
about,
sense to me. It just doesn't.
I understand the part about maybe not, him seeing a tag number or something like that, where he would physically go after whoever it is. But, most any parent out here would want to see that child, proof of life, immediately. I mean, at least show him proof of life, because that video, what he saw at the Texas Roadhouse, that wasn't enough.
Mm-mm.
That wasn't enough to show proof of life, So I really hope that they'll do that for Seth and Katie, and reassure them that he is alive, and they're going to find him. But you listen to that chat last night at your convenience or whatever, or pull it up, whatever you want to do. But it's well worth listening to.
Awesome.
I mean,
Well,
he did
appreciate it.
show a lot of insight on Sebastian. He, joked around a lot. He even said a lot of YouTubers are going to take it and spin it however they want to. But it was very interesting, and I just hope the best for all of them,
Yeah.
I agree with some callers before, why these neighbors know information, seen stuff and heard stuff, they should have reported it, and maybe Sebastian would still be home.
I agree.
I
agree. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome. I would tell anybody out there, if you ever see anything, abuse, anything, take the initiative to call in, and report it. Because there's so much bad stuff going on in this world today. Things need to be reported. It ain't that you're being nosy, it's you care and you want to see something done about it so this stuff won't keep happening.
Exactly.
Well, God bless you. I appreciate you letting me call in.
Absolutely. Please call back in. Please call back in. I like people like different perspectives, like hearing stuff,
And I hope
We never know
you
what's
get
going
to
to break the case wide open. So hopefully somebody sees
I
something
hope
and says
it's a
something.
resolve to it very soon because, like I say, this Sebastian needs to be found.
Yeah.
He does. I agree. And no matter which parent he ends up going back to, I just wish all the best for him because he deserves it. It's not that he has a disability because I have 2 grandchildren that are autistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, they're just a little different. That's all.
Right.
And, people need to be patient with them and understand them, really learn them and understand them. I'm learning a lot myself, because my grandchildren's almost 8 years old. So I'm learning a lot about them as well, But I've actually learned a lot from these shows, YouTuber shows about autistic, people. So it's really helped me a lot as well. But I appreciate you. Appreciate you taking the call.
Bless you. Have a great day.
I'll be back.
All right, dear. Talk to you soon.
All
Bye-bye.
right. All right, honey. Bye.
Oh, wow, that was a great call. Oh, my gosh. We have call for one more lucky person. Whoever called. Oh, there it is. Phones are off after this. This is Betty.
Hi, Betty. This is Pat from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Pat. How are you doing, love?
Good, honey. And this is the second day I found you, and I'm so glad I did. I just love you. But I have so much to say, but I'm going to try to cut it short. Number one, the lady who's a neighbor who said that he hit him with a water pressure. He also said that Chris told Katie it's either him or me. Did you hear that?
Yep, I heard that several times. Actually, the first thing I heard was the statement that Chris said, "I hope you choose your son." I saw that really early back, but I didn't know what that meant. But now everything's kind of coming full circle, which is what happens in these cases. We don't know what these things mean early on, but as the case starts progressing, we start learning tidbits, and the stuff we heard early on starts making sense.
Not only that, but Chris said earlier, I remember this at the beginning, he said, "You're not going to find him." You remember that?
Mm-hmm. And I believe that was from
gonna find
Robin.
him.
I think that was from Seth's mom on a hot mic when that was said.
Well, this is what I think. Okay, this is maybe a long shot, but I don't think he ever went home. I think she took him home, like she said, and got groceries, possibly. But I think somewhere after the day that they spent out, that she went and met Chris, and Chris took him down to where he works and took care of business down there.
Something definitely happened. What do you think about when Chris made it to work? They have confirmation that he was at work at 5:15 in the morning, but we have a worker saying he didn't get on the crane until 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, so if he didn't get there till 5, he had plenty of time to meet her after they went out to eat, bowling, and then meet her somewhere where there's no cameras, and took Sebastian. And God knows what happened from there.
Yeah.
I pray he's alive. I really do. And there was a lady who called in. I don't know if it was your show, but she said she saw a picture of Sebastian or the other kid, and she said, that looks like my grandson. So a lot of kids like that have that.
That's why I challenged everybody in my chat when we started the show earlier for them to go into all of to go pull out their photos, their photo albums, and their pictures, and you'll be amazed about how many people look just like those photos. I can pick out people from my own family that resembles those people.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, I have some more to say, but I can't remember it all.
Oh, that's okay. We'll have the phones open again tomorrow.
All right, great. And thank you so much for what you're doing.
Oh,
and
no, absolutely.
Sebastian, if you're out there, we love you. And Seth, keep up the good work.
Amen. Amen.
Thanks,
Thank
Betty.
you. God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So that was our last caller. There was something that she said there. I don't think he went home, and Chris may have picked him up. And the whole thing about this work thing. When I was sitting here, I thought he was at work at like 6, and I said it didn't seem plausible. It still seems so early for me for that shift. I would think that he would start at 7. And then I said that early up, and then I think it was like a few weeks ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, we learned about the employee saying he wasn't on the crane until 7, and then he got kicked off because of his bad attitude, which it sounds like is a common theme for Chris Proudfoot. And that's kind of what happened that day. And then the PI stated that they confirmed that he was there at 5:15. And I thought, well, why would he be there at 5:15 if he's not getting on the crane until 7 a.m.? And so that might actually bode into some of these theories about, Sebastian being there or something like that. As far as does anybody know which one of the PIs have quit? Is it Chloe or Heather? Everybody's saying one of the PIs quit, but nobody told me which one have quit. I was just thinking, Betty, talk about looking like pictures. You in pink look like Harmony. Harmony who? Don't. Heather. Huh. Well, she didn't last long. She probably, listen, I don't mean to be insulting, and I know some internet PIs take this as an insult for me. It's just I don't like internet PIs, okay? I just don't. I don't like people that troll missing person chat rooms for a job. I have a problem with that, okay? And I believe private investigators should be private. That's why they're called private investigators. Internet PIs are anything but freaking private. I don't like them. If you want to be a content creator that does investigative work, then call yourself that. But don't tout yourself as a private investigator and then tout everything you find online. I don't like it. And I have this. So I'm going to constantly be saying that. So with that being said, I don't know who Heather is. I'm sure she's a lovely person. I saw her in probably a lot less clothes than I should have seen her in. But at the end of the day, I could tell that she was having a hard time smoothing over some of the bumps that were created because, you know, Seth is a grieving father that has a missing child, and I can't imagine how unnerved he is. And I know whenever I'm hurt, I'm angry. So if I'm hurt, you know, I'm more vocal in a not pleasant way, you know, and I've got to think that that might be something that Seth is like as well. And it's all like when I'm angry, I'm not really angry. The only time I exhibit anger emotions is when I'm hurt. When I'm hurt. When I get angry, believe it or not, I'm chill because I'm so angry I got to process it before I blow a gasket. I don't know how my body works like that, but it does. It does. But the only time that I'm vocal about it is when I'm hurt. And I have to think that he's hurt. He's confused. He wants to know where his son is. I know he's probably screamed at law enforcement. He's probably raised his voice at a lot of people because when you're hurt and you're angry and you're scared, it's what you do. And sometimes you lash out at the people helping you the most. And this very well may be a situation that Heather, you know, can't handle. Maybe she can't handle the chaos. Maybe she just can't handle the case. Maybe she's taking too much heat. Maybe people are starting to, you know, this is social media. There are some unpleasant photos. I'm sure she probably, maybe she doesn't care whether you get out or not. I don't know. I don't know who she is, but it might just be too much. They may be reaching out underbelly of social media that people don't understand. You guys don't understand it. People like me do. So I have to think that, you know, maybe she's stepping away because it's something that's going to ruin her reputation because people are going after her, and we don't know who they're calling. We don't know if they're calling her past bosses, past boyfriends. I mean, you got to look at that stuff. You guys don't think this stuff happens to these people? It does. It happened to me. So I absolutely know that this stuff happens. And if Heather needs to step away, it's one of two reasons. It's a personality conflict or it's a professional conflict. Those are usually the reasons why PI step away from the case. I don't personally know Heather. She seems like a nice, even keel female. You know, when she was up there on that interview in Web Sleuth, I think her and Chloe really did handle their actions very, very well, very professionally. If you ask me, I think they handled themselves very well with Chris acting the way he was acting. But again, it's just my position. It has nothing, no private personal conflict with either Chloe or Heather. I just don't like internet PIs generally, period. I'm not saying that they're good, bad, or indifferent or anything. It's just that. And they said she's stepping back. Stepping back is basically quitting, okay? These are word salad stuff, okay? When you hear stepping back, they're done. I don't see her coming back. Chloe stepped back on the Layla Santinello case, and she never came back. So it's stepping down, stepping back, whatever. She quit. So let's call it what it is. Okay, she quit the case. It's not the end of the world, but let's not put a big pink bow on it and make it look cute. Okay, she quit. Why she quit, I don't know. So, but let's use. I am a very blunt person. I don't like sugarcoating. I hate sugarcoating. It's a pet peeve of mine. She quit. She didn't step back. She quit. All right, guys. I think we we did have a great conversation today. So, and I really did love everybody's call-ins, their responses, whether I agreed with them or not. I know that if they think it, somebody else in my chat does. So it's nice to explore those areas that I don't really explore myself because, again, they're not areas that I'm looking, but you never know, right? There's been times, you guys have watched it, you guys have been around long enough where people called in and I'm one way, not this way. And they bring me something and it's like, oh, well, this is changing my mind, right? This is changing my mind. So maybe something will change my mind. You know, Chris, why don't you try changing Bullhorn Betty's mind? I do plan on coming out there. You don't have to do this publicly. You can do it privately. I keep stuff. I mean, I will just for relevance and, you know, transparency information, I will probably discuss the conversation, but you won't be on the record. Or you can be on the record, because if you're not on the record, then I can manipulate what you said to me. So there is that. But I would like an opportunity to speak with Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot. But at this point, I doubt Katie Proudfoot would ever speak with me. I might be too bold for Chris to talk to, but I can tell you I will be respectful, and I've got questions. I don't have accusatory questions. I have real questions. I have real questions about the facts of the case. If they would be willing to give me the time to get some things cleared up, I would greatly appreciate it. But again, not something I'm holding my breath on. I know he likes to go on women's panels that he feels that he can control. I know at this point he's probably watched me long enough to know that what you see is what you get. So there is that. There is that. All right, guys, you guys take care. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for rocking it out with me this Saturday morning into the afternoon. It was enjoyable. I hope it was as enjoyable for you. And you guys got 3 hours. I usually don't do 3-hour lives anymore, but I'm glad I did. And hopefully you guys are too. Don't forget to give me that thumbs up when you guys are reading this. Oh, thanks. She quit. Keep it real. I love it. Yeah, exactly. She quit. So let's call a spade here. But no, she has a right to. She has a right to. I don't know if she was being paid for it. She might have been doing it out of a labor of love, but that's another thing I don't like about these internet PIs. They tout like, I'll do this pro bono. Oh, but you need to come up with $3,000 to fly me out there. I love that. That's great. I don't like them. My personal thing is if you have any kind of issue, I'll help you raise money for private investigators. I will use my platform to generate revenue for your cause, for a private investigator local in your community that are already boots on the ground, that don't need to be flied in. If you want to do something like that ever, and this goes across to anybody. This is anybody that's watching this, anybody that has family, friends, or anything that has a missing loved one or a deceased loved one, and they want to get a private investigator. Instead of using a crapshoot internet PI, we will raise you money to get you a local PI that you can feel, touch, and see in your local community. So we will raise money. We will help any way we can. I am over the internet PIs, and I'm over the shit that comes and the drama that comes with them. Okay, I'm sorry, I am. Are there good ones? I'm sure there are. But I get sick of the drama. I get sick of all the public when they're supposed to be private. I'm tired of it. So for those that are out there, if you ever come across, don't worry. You come here, you let us know. We will raise you money, and we will get you a legitimate PI. Not that they're not legitimate. They pass their whatever requirements they are in their state. If they are required to have, like Mississippi, you can just go live in Mississippi and call yourself a PI. Guess what, guys? They're a PI. No credentialing, no education, no training, no nothing. If you're in freaking Mississippi, all you have to do is have a brick and mortar or a home, and you can call yourself a private investigator. That's it. Sickening. But most of these people went and got their, just like every other private investigator, they just chose not to be private. They should just call themselves investigators. I'm a transparency type of person. So when you say you're a private investigator, I expect your work to be private. These internet PIs, these internet eyes, these internet investigators are not private. They are absolutely public, and they will litter the internet with any little bit of information that they find out about you. And that's why I don't like them. God bless. See you soon. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. And of course, kind to one another. Don't be a Chris. God bless.